Anyway, we are at, looks like 6:32, so let's open our Tuesday, June 8th, 2021 meeting. And just a reminder to everyone, this meeting is being recorded for viewing on local Rutland cable TV. I don't think we need to read the virtual meeting announcement anymore.
It's optional at this point. I mean, this is pretty much the last meeting, then we're gonna be back to the usual method.
So, and I don't know, I did not get the, I don't know, if you forwarded it to me or.
Here, give me that one.
KP, or I know Ron also forwarded the thing from
Oh.
KP about the changes
Oh, I
on the solar.
can forward that to the board. We can
It's like
talk about it if you want. I have
3 pages.
I reviewed it.
Yeah, I guess my only kind of question on this is, do we still need to do roll call votes?
Right, so roll call votes after the emergency order ends on the 15th of June. The only time you need to do a roll call vote is if members are not participating live and they are remote. If that's the case, then you need to do the roll call. If all the members are assembled in one location at the same time, you would not need to do the roll call any longer. The board does have the option of having at least a quorum present with other members not available, if they have a basic reason for it, as long as the chair is in attendance live,
Yeah,
or a designated chair, if that's,
so that's still not until the 15th.
that's correct.
Okay, so we're still on roll call.
All right.
Okay, minutes. Honestly, I can't say I looked at them.
I've read them.
It takes you under.
Good job, Tamika.
Thanks,
Yes.
Rick. As always.
Thanks.
I did have a suggestion, it was on. It's on page 4, the last paragraph. And it says that Tim would like to have a discussion regarding special permits and no more 3 subdivisions, etc. His feelings are, and it says that 2-year extensions have been granted, which almost makes it sound like it's got a 2-year extension. I would like that to be very specific, that some of them are 10 years old. His feelings are that.
Oh, on the subdivision, yeah.
All right, that 2-year extension have been granted.
Maybe if we put multiple in there.
Right, I wrote several.
Okay, I can change that.
Yeah.
Either one of those, just add that word.
Sure.
Yeah, multiple looks good.
Multiple times. Make a motion to accept the minutes with correction.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Marilyn?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Norm? Aye. We are
Any correspondence?
correspondence.
Do we have any?
We sort of do.
Norm, Tamika, thank you. I received my retirement check.
Oh, yeah.
It went right into my state retirement fund. I have 2 now, one with $60 in it, one with $400 in it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll be able to get a Coke from McDonald's in 20 years.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, this one, I guess, we might have just a little take up, at the moment. The, signed proposal for the Rutland post office.
Oh, yeah, Dave sent out an email about that.
They had asked for an extension, I'm not gonna go into all the dates, but it's until, mostly until, looks like, 7/27,
Yep.
8/27.
It's actually a postponement, because there's not gonna be any opening of the hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, which is, I believe, on our agenda, so, yes, is, will be just skipped over. We also have something from, I guess you've been discussing it, from, Joe Buckley on the gravel.
Mhm.
When we get to the special permits, I think that might be a good time to, take a look at that. So, we have ANRs, northeast side of Kenwood Rd.
Since we're talking about it, I really like this. Is there any way, and this is probably through Dave, this section down here, I think we should ask all of our A&R people to include that. I love it. It gives all the information, so we don't have to figure out, you know, is this a 150, is this a 200, is this an acre and a half or an acre? Setbacks, what they're doing. It's just a great little splurge for the zoning. And when I saw that, I went and looked at what typically we've been getting from our other A&Rs, from Julian, from, you know, I shouldn't say from Julian, but from New England. And I don't know how I guess it's maybe through Dave that we use this as example as how,
Land planning.
yeah,
But with-
Janicki out of,
Yep, Norman Hill.
yeah, I really like this, and I don't know if we can,
Stephanie and Julia Vitruva.
Finally back, wow. They didn't learn everything.
No.
so I don't know if it's something we can require, or if we can ask, if we could use this as an example with David having it, so when they come, when they discuss the A&Rs with them, that this is what we'd like to see in our A&Rs.
I'd have to take a look at the regs to see if the regs require a zoning table. If you don't require a zoning table, we know what the zoning district is, and we can provide that information to the board as an email to say that this lies in the R60, and here are the requirements. If you like, you know, let us in the regs, and we can see if we can get that.
We certainly could suggest to.
That's what I was getting at,
Yeah,
Norm. I just like that, cause I mean, it even says, the justification, it's got a purpose statement and references all in one area.
Yeah.
I just think it's a nice compact little thing that, helps us, and you're right, Dave, we can ask for that, but, you know, like when I was looking at these two here, I was actually going back to here to reference setbacks and looking at it, so I really like what they did, so.
I guess, usually the A&Rs come in by themselves, and these days, the developers just send them in. But we do know who the regulars are, so I guess we can
Yeah.
outreach to the regulars.
Well, I was thinking if we send a
If
memo
you
out
don't
with
mind,
a
could you
template,
just consider doing this, and I'll see if it's in the regs.
yeah. I'm getting it, I'm guessing it probably isn't, but it doesn't hurt to give a suggestion out to, you know, like we put the letter out for the illusory frontage. There's no reason we couldn't do something like that as a suggestion.
Thing is, the A&R state law is pretty basic.
Yeah.
So I think trying to fool with that, you might run
Yeah.
into some trouble.
But what did Julian say once? I followed Rutland's A&R. Do we actually have a,
Section,
Yeah.
subdivision regulations.
is there any chance we just throw this in there? I mean, not tonight, I know, but I guess I'm putting it before the board. Do we use it as a suggestion, or do we try to get more formal?
Well, again, putting it in the regulations might run afoul of state law regarding the.
Okay. Well, I'm okay with the suggestion. I just
You know,
really liked it.
I'm not saying it will. We can have Dave, if we wanna have Dave look into it.
Yeah, I just think it's a great tool for us and for anybody down the road that has to look these up.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave's got lots of spare time.
I-
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's back to 40 hours a week now, 20.
Yeah. Ron almost wasn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
really.
Yeah, that was interesting to say the least.
Anyway, let's get to these lots themselves.
Well, it had proper frontage,
Yep.
area was there. I mean, and anything else is out of our jurisdiction, but I'd like to,
The question I was gonna ask the board, Norm, is, this goes to what Dick brought up a while back. I'm not excited about this approximate stuff that says on there. It's got approximate limits, an approximate edge,
Yeah.
a pond. I mean, that goes to that one, can we ask them to ask? Or is that, I guess I don't know, is approximate okay?
Approximate in terms of what, I don't.
It says approximate limits of boarding vegetation wetlands flagged by land, so if it's flagged, why is it approximate?
Right, so I think when it comes to the vegetation notes relative to Concom,
Okay,
I think those are extra notes that are on the A&R to give the board context of where
okay,
the buildable portion is.
all right,
For the planning board's purpose, it's really all about area, frontage, and whether or not there's actual legal and physical access from the frontage portion of the lot to where the structure will be located.
okay,
If the wetlands were at the frontage portion, then you have issues potential with illusory frontage.
all right.
This is additional information,
The
so.
the other thing is, I don't think you could reasonably expect them to exactly delineate, because, you know, they could be on this line, and they could all of a sudden, there could be just a little bump going in here that just.
Yeah, so this, it's for the Concom to basically comment on this stuff.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, this matters before the Conservation Commission, so perhaps there'll be a more refined map that develops
Yeah.
because of that proceeding.
Just-
What I am noticing is on the topo part there, it doesn't feel that there's a reasonable slope.
I just noticed it just now, a
Wow.
few minutes before you just saw it. Because that's one of the things I'm saying to myself, how, if it's this approximate, could it be up in here, and the house, how many feet away, you know, are they allowing? And, that's why I asked them how to come along with the bylaw, and it's very
There's-
slow.
He's only gotta have from the back of the property 25 feet and then whatever the Concom tells.
Right.
I guess the answer is, from our purposes, it's good.
Yeah, it looks good. Okay, do I have a motion to endorse?
I'll make the motion to endorse the plan for
Kenwood Drive.
Kenwood Drive. Lot 5, A, B, and C.
And I'll ask the question before I second it. We got the check and everything?
We do, check was for 550, 500 rather. And could I have some of those paper copies back for the file, please?
And check number,
Check number 210,
say again,
210.
thank you.
That's that one.
Check it out.
That one.
Wait a minute, no. Just sign it before we voted?
That's right, sorry.
Oh, I'll second it.
Okay, is there any discussion? Roll call vote. Marla?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Norm? Aye.
Excuse me, Norm, so we've fallen out of the habit of using this stamp. Would you like to have the paper copies? Was it?
We stamp one of them, right?
Yeah, we only stamp one, the one we keep.
the one that we
And then they've gotta sign that one, right? They
Yes.
typically do.
Yeah,
I'll have them when they pick that up.
sign it, yeah.
Just to get back in the habit of that, because
Yeah.
sometimes these A&Rs hang out there for a while.
No, we just wanted to let the ink dry.
Yeah.
Stickers on these stickers. They can just sign my name, I'm good.
I don't think so. Near that. There. Well, and I did not date that, so if you want to put the date in the date right after,
This
it's right at the bottom of
The
the
eighth
page.
Today.
Oops.
And next,
What's the next, I'm gonna ask.
a little bit more complicated.
Actually, can you just give me one quick second? I seem not to have the controls of who's letting people into the meeting.
Oh,
I just wanna ask,
there's two guests.
I just wanna ask,
Peter to,
yeah, if you could just verify that we're letting people in.
Nick, is this the road that goes to Log Cabin? It's way out over here by the Princeton line?
Way out in the back.
Yeah,
spot.
okay.
Yes,
Okay.
location.
More people told me I need to go see that monument to log cabin design. 4,000 or 5,000 square feet of a beautiful house.
He has in his cellars.
Oh, good, so he can rival me then. The one thing I did notice, which I was gonna ask Dave, is these power line easements, you know, there's an easement for this power line, so where do you put the house?
Driveway, all obviously there. And then
Yeah, and the house like here?
back in.
In the back. Oh, yeah.
And
This
I
one's
had one of
sitting
these,
right here.
these three-phase monsters behind me when I lived in Chicago.
Mhm.
Late spring and during the summer, when the rains and the mists come, you really don't want to be living there.
That's right.
You
And-
see the corona around it,
Yeah.
and
And especially if you're going Route 68 where it crosses, and if you have your window down, sometimes you can hear it humming.
yeah.
And when it's a heavy load, the lines are sagging.
Oh, that'll be the summertime.
Yep.
No, I looked at that and I'm going, this is where I throw in the Sean phrase, caveat emptor.
Uh-oh, the expertise are in.
You're the
We have our
expert in that
technicians.
line, okay.
So usually when Peter shares a screen, we have like a double screen, so like one screen.
Well,
for
just-
one
And if
That's
I'm
it.
guessing,
So I don't know
that's a
where to
tower
see.
there, so you'll have a tower you'll be looking at across from your house.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
know.
like, go to that screen. 'cause
Does it
it's
show
like-
the other one? It doesn't.
No,
Yeah.
so occasionally
So
you'll
it's
have
accessible if you just
the
scroll off
National
the
Grid guys
screen.
in their
Yeah,
helicopter
just-
flying over your house doing inspections.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
Or the one guy
I
jumping
hate-
onto the tower.
I hate to say this, but
Oh, that's not
lately,
too far. Not everybody's in, see?
Oh, that's right, you're right.
Yeah,
So-
you're in the waiting
I don't
room.
know,
Eight
but
people waiting room.
Nope, nope.
been
Eversource
very strange drones have been flying over lately.
Yeah, no,
that was up in
Eversource, we
Glenwood
just
Rd.
hired two guys that are FAA
Would you like to
certified
take
in
it
our
out?
electric group to
Yeah,
do
please.
drone
Yeah.
inspections on
So I
our
just go up to that
transmission
planning
lines.
board tab and do it.
Yeah, I just saw that,
Yes.
so yeah, you're
No
right.
problem.
Because my brother-in-law, who's a high voltage lineman, I got pictures of him jumping off helicopters onto towers.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks. And
But-
when the lineman's getting paid more than the helicopter pilot, that's not a good thing.
No, it's not a good sign.
Seems like lately, military's been flying
No.
over the aqueduct.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very strange,
So we're back,
very
we have
strange.
everybody in.
Helicopters, but-
No, you just may wanna go back and see if anybody had any interest in the front A&R.
Okay, was there anybody that wanted to speak on the Kenwood Drive ANR?
Hello? Hello?
Uh,
Oh, I can't really hear you too well.
Everybody's on mute, or they're on,
Hello, hello? I'm on the house phone. I can't get in on my computer.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
okay. Bottom line, the Kenwood Drive ANR, we voted to endorse it, so.
Hello? Okay. Well, it said, this is Deb Flanagan.
phone.
Yeah.
Julia,
Can you hear
we
me?
hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear
We
you,
can hear you.
Hello?
Okay.
but somebody
All
else
right.
is hollering hello behind you.
Sounds like Julia.
That's not me.
Hello?
Julian, is that you?
Mine's on. My computer is on. I see my thing in there.
Well, I've got my name coming up here
Right.
and
So until you tell it to put the video on, it won't, it's just show your name.
start video.
It says start your video, yeah. Leave your microphone on unless you're gonna talk. Oh, I see you in here.
The marvels of
I'm not hearing
technology.
anybody else. I'll tell you, Girl Scouts doesn't work like this.
Hey, we can see you now.
Almost.
Almost, it was in and out.
So, Norm, I'm pretty sure everybody can hear you from here, so maybe just one more announcement regarding that prior A&R, then we can maybe move on.
Does anyone have any comments on the Kenwood Drive A&R, which we have voted to endorse?
Okay.
I guess
Did you have a comment?
Such an asshole.
We do the 94. Any discussion? Any discussion? Closed.
I don't know, I'm not hearing much very good.
No. Should we ask what they're wanting to be involved in, so that we be a little bit more alert to it?
We'll just bring this one out.
Okay, I'll just anyone else what we have.
Yep.
They can speak up. Okay, which for some reason or another, I don't have a paper copy of that.
we were running shy of paper copies, so I,
That's okay.
Here.
I'll steal this one.
although you did have one in your packet, the small size version.
Okay, next we have an A&R on Glenwood Road. It looks to create.
What is an A&R?
Approval not required.
Meaning-
Oh,
Which means very simply, it's not considered to be a subdivision. So it doesn't.
why is that?
It does not fall under subdivision rules and regulations. That's by state law.
It's any piece of land that has its frontage on an existing road in any road in the Commonwealth can be brought before a planning board as an approval not required, which means its requirement is just frontage per the area of town and lot size. And that's basically what the planning board has to look at to make sure it follows those minimum amount of state law.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
will say that you do have the applicant in this meeting, if you want him to talk to this.
Okay. Mark's,
Mark is there.
Yep.
yeah, I think I saw him.
Okay, want to give us just a basic idea, Mark? Hello?
Mark is on mute. Mark,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, sorry, just a computer glitch here. So this is a A&R on Glenwood Road, up by Glenwood Place. It's on Glenwood Road proper. Right when you get to Glenwood Place, there'll be 4 lots on the right-hand side of the road, as you can see. This A&R creates 4 lots, all over 1.5 acres, with at least 200 feet of frontage on Glenwood Road.
Okay.
And Mark, I gotta ask, and it was just for my edification. I saw that little dotted line, it said tie line. Is that, I guess I'm asking.
That's for surveyor's use. That ties the 2 parcels that we own together, basically, because it's one plan of land
Okay,
and one deed. So it's only for a surveyor's reference if they go to lay things out in the future.
I was trying to figure out where the town road, for Glenwood Place.
Yeah, don't be confused by that. I think
Okay.
this is all public way up here. Yep.
Okay, good, thanks. I don't see,
I have no problem, but you are gonna have a problem with the ledge.
Yep, we know that. A lot of ledge up there. If anyone wants some rocks.
Well, the town of Rutland is talking about building a dam, so
Maybe if you let us open a quarry, we'll give you some rocks for the dam.
awesome. I like that idea.
have to ask Lester how they're gonna tap off the power lines for the house power.
Whoa!
Line them into gravel.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Planning board has no problems?
I have no problems with it. Drove out there, took a look at it.
Any comment from the public?
Do all these lots have water and sewer pumped into them?
No,
Or are they all septic and well?
septic and wells.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments from the public? Hearing none.
I make a motion to endorse the plan of L-Bag on Glenwood Road for 4 lots.
Second?
Is there any discussion?
Do they have to make the houses so ugly?
It's starting to have a little bit of population explosion over that neck of the woods. I think that maybe sometime in the near future, Mark, think about a recreation field.
Yeah, I mean, across the street, we do have the possibility for some open space lots. But the problem is we can't get enough area suitable for septic systems, so the lots will end up being bigger.
Yeah.
Mark, since I got you on the phone, or on the thing, we got this, yeah, I'll let it go. It was just a question. We had this one plan and that had a nice little table with it, with all of the information for ANRs. And, wondered if, Mr. Blanchard, who does your layouts, would be, if you'd be applicable to do that on future ANR plans.
If you want to send it over, I'll certainly take a look at it and send it to him.
Perfect. One down.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, Marilyn.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Dick.
Aye.
Norm. Aye.
Marilyn, you could, oh, Norm's got the pen, okay.
Mark, you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Make sure you tell the person who buys lot 15 about the fun of power lines.
Yeah, you can't miss that one.
Yeah, I
Don't
live.
forget,
You can actually see Boston from right there, though.
Yeah, I lived behind them in Illinois, and it was an interesting sound and corona during mist and snow and during the summertime.
Yeah, we left it a bit bigger so we can get the house away from the power lines, but yeah, it's some people.
don't forget about Ginny's ashes too.
Jenny, did Addison put ashes out there? Jenny,
Wrong place.
wrong person. I'm not gonna put this on there. I'm gonna hand it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I can't get them off anyway.
Did you?
Great picture with red on the table. Now the next one's where I got a lot of questions.
This one gets a little more complicated.
Yes, it does.
This is just for one buildable lot.
Two, I thought there were 2 lots
I
involved.
see 7C, and then the rest is a. The 2, I just.
Get back to Norm.
Oh, let's go back first to
In
the
the
yellow.
packet, I think there is an existing.
Yeah, let me just get that.
Before you go there, was there a check on this and how much?
Yeah, 550, 1337.
Thank you. Now,
I'll get it.
See, I got it, this lot here.
Oh, 7B, I didn't see that yet. And then there's this one and that little thing right there.
Yeah.
Must be gonna give to Nathan.
This, a non-buildable lot.
Yep, I saw that was being,
I have a note here, 3.59 acre. Is it flat? If so, make it a rec field.
said nobody could add, well, I guess they could.
If the chair wishes, I can kind of explain the next one.
Yeah, yes, we're, let me see, we're up to the Campbell Street ANR, and an explanation would be helpful.
Yes, certainly. Let me pull it up here. So this is creating 3 new parcels, one of which is lot 7B, which is a buildable lot with frontage on Campbell Street. All 3 of these parcels are coming out of the original lot 7 from the prior plan. So it's creating 7A, which is the bulk of the original lot, 7B, which is a new buildable lot on Campbell Street.
Yeah.
It's creating parcel 7C, and it's also creating some remaining land. The reason for this is the remaining land in parcel 7C, we are going to deed to the abutters from a prior subdivision of land at 175 Glenwood. We had broken those lots out back when we thought we were going to do an open space plan here, and we would have needed all the usable upland to meet the calculation for the open space. Since then, plans changed. We didn't move forward with the open space. So we ended up ANRing the lots on Campbell and Glenwood. So for that, we had the ability to increase the lot size on that original subdivision of land, and we'll be gifting those 2 parcels to the abutters.
So Ducharme and Nathan are gonna get, they're gonna have updates to their properties, correct?
Not necessarily. We're just going to deed over these parcels. So, their existing deed won't change, and then we'll deed over these parcels. So they'll basically own a second parcel.
Oh, okay,
Otherwise, you affect all the mortgages and everything like that.
okay.
So it won't be a ball field then?
No, it's actually it's a dirt bike track, Dick.
Awesome, hey, that's a good idea.
It's
So-
already built.
Good.
So, Mark, on 7A, is there gonna be is that just a large piece of
So that-
property for a house?
That is a single house lot with frontage both on Campbell Street and Glenwood Road. It's on a special permit common driveway under easement area A, and it's half built. The other 2 houses are just about complete on that kind of 3-lot common driveway. So this backland will go with that house lot.
So, this is where I was confused. Because if it's got 200 feet of frontage on Campbell Street, this is where I'm struggling.
So this has over 200 feet of frontage on Campbell Street, and it also has about 39 feet of frontage on Glenwood Road, and it has a special permit for a common driveway off of Glenwood Road, which is labeled easement area A on this plan. It's all constructed. It will be probably paved, but it's all constructed now in gravel, where it's a roughly 400-foot driveway with a cul-de-sac on the end, similar to what we did at Ducharme and Nathan's.
This is the one I gotta let go through that we said will never happen again. Yeah, okay. All right, I will back off on my questions then, because this is the one we approved.
Mhm.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, you guys keep seeing that same one.
Yeah.
The Ducharme and Nathan. That was prior to the illusionary frontage, and it keeps coming up because it keeps being shown on additional plans
Yeah,
for this
no,
subdivision.
Mark, I thought about it, and then I remembered that this one was, before we
Yeah,
put that into effect.
I think
so-
this is like the fourth or fifth time you're seeing it on a
Yeah,
plan.
Yeah, I'm fine then, I have no issues.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Nope.
Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, hearing none.
Motion to endorse the plan, the A&R plan for lot 7A, 7B, and 7C on Campbell Street and Glenwood Road.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Then the vote, I'll vote. Marilyn,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye,
Norm,
and check
aye.
number and amount,
Yeah, check for 500, check number 1320.
thank you.
Okay, I found stickies that we can put over.
I'll take this upstairs, because I want to listen to,
There's another one. Oop.
Unless
want to
you-
listen to what they're saying. They're showing some big plot here. These are all off Campbell, but I don't see Brintnal. This is something else.
Oh, and 5 is off the table.
I had a question there, and I didn't hear it.
I was looking for the Brintnal Road.
If that's it from me, I'll log off. Thank you, folks.
Mark, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it? I mean, seriously, what about Brintnal?
Right in the corner, Marilyn. Right there.
Can you go back to the people that are on the, is,
Somebody was asking a
Yeah.
question.
I see Barbara, you're unmuted, which is good. Because the next thing,
Okay,
I think the next thing is what you've been waiting for, but guess what?
Postponed.
why?
Well, because we want to.
Okay,
Sounds like a plan.
next item is, public hearing for the, US Post Office for a new sign in Rutland, which they have requested, a postponement, until, I believe, July 27th. So we will not be holding that public hearing.
So anybody that's on there for the post office sign, the hearing's been put off to the 27th of July.
Be
The
nice to put
27th of July.
Correct.
Okay.
And should we tell them that we'll be meeting in person back then? Will we have Zoom? Or do we still
We
have
don't,
Zoom?
really know what the whole story with Zoom is gonna be.
We can talk about that at the end of the meeting.
Well, I just was, if these people are coming back on the 27th, how do we handle,
I would tell them to check the agenda.
check the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's why you're the brains of the outfit.
Okay, next up is
Actually,
a,
I'm sorry, before you go on this one, we're looking for 3 votes on the post office. What they're doing 3 things. They're requesting a postponement of the hearing from June 8th until July 27th, is one item. They're requesting a time by which to hold a public hearing. That's a separate requirement. That's from June 8th until July 27th. And thirdly, they're requesting a extension of the final action deadline from 6/8 until 8/27. There are procedural things involved
Do
with
we
this.
need to vote on that?
Yeah, we can take it collectively.
Okay. Okay, do I have a motion to accept this postponement schedule?
Yes.
Also,
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'll second.
Any discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Marilyn?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Norm? Aye. Since you weren't here at the beginning of it.
Aye.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Aye.
Should we set the time now of, say, 7
Be the
o'clock?
same time as what's on it, I suppose.
Oh,
unless you want to
6:40?
do it.
Okay, good.
I'll add the next one.
Okay, next we have public hearing by C.B. Blair for some estate lots, special permit on Brintnal Drive. And once again, as I am in a butter, I will recuse myself.
Oh,
Tim?
no.
Yeah. Tim as vice chair, it's all yours.
Great. Okay, I guess I will open up this hearing. I gotta find the, I gotta read it.
I have the file.
All right. Number 2.
7:13.
Yep, we'll open the hearing at 7:13.
It's the entire file, you can just keep it together.
All right, perfect. That's what I like. I'll read the public hearing notice. The Rutland Planning Board will hold a remote public hearing for applicable orders amending limits on public gatherings, June 8th, 2021, at 6:55 PM on petition of C.B. Blair Development Corp. for 7 estate lot special permits at 0 Brintnal Drive, parcel ID 044-B-3, across from 34 to 52 Brintnal Drive, pursuant to the zoning bylaws, Article 3, Section 8E, estate lots, and Article 7, special permits. You can see the meeting agenda for access instructions. The application can be viewed on the Town of Rutland's website, Planning Board page, under Planning Board packets. And it was issued by Norm Anderson, Chairman, Rutland Planning Board. And it was posted May 24th and May 31st, 2021. So I guess I will open up the hearing and ask if anybody on the board has any questions or comments.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you like for the applicant to make his initial presentation?
Oh,
and then go to the
correct.
board a
Thanks.
second for any?
Yes, is that Julian? Are you online?
I'm here too. Please, yeah.
Okay,
So basically, this consists of 7 estate lots. They get their frontage from Brintnal Drive. They all meet the required zoning. They've all been approved as ANRs. They require a special permit from the planning board in order to build on them. So we have applied for a special permit. It's pretty simple, pretty much basic from there on.
Basic? BS.
oh, hold on a
You
second
wanna
there.
build in a
Whoa,
freaking
whoa, whoa,
farm.
time out, up, we'll ask for public comment. Let the applicant finish his presentation. The board will make comments, and then I'll ask for the public, please.
So what I meant by basic, I don't know who that was yelling at me, but basic means that it's a basic situation where we have to apply for these, for the special permits in order to build on these lots. That, I meant it was a basic filing. Other than that, again, it's what it is. So that's pretty much the presentation.
Clete, does Julian have any input, or just, that's it, you were doing the presentation?
No, I don't know if Julian, you all set or did?
No, I'm good. I think you did a wonderful job.
All right, thank you.
Good job, Clay. You're hired.
I'll ask for any input from the board. I know I've looked it over and
Yeah,
everything follows the special permit.
correct.
Kev, you want that? There you go.
The only thing that I had noticed on one of
these was, I guess I was curious on the farthest lot, we'll call them,
It's up there, go over, bring your hand up and to the right. Keep going to the right. There's a lot number. Oh, down a little. Oh, let me point it out to you.
I just
The one
wanted
you're
to make
talking
sure.
about. Yeah,
Lot
that's
number 5.
There you go.
I was curious, on lot number 5, the proposed house was closer down to the other houses down there. Is there an option to put that house farther up?
Well,
And the reason I asked that is only just for, that you've got 4 lots down along Brintnal with a house going in behind their houses. Those 4 lots would probably be less impacted by a house directly behind them if that other house was up in the farther. And I just didn't know if that had come up in your guys' plan or if that was something that you had looked at. That was my only question on the
can I answer,
proposal.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, go ahead, Clay.
Okay, so basically what the reason the houses are shown where they are is because we have to show that they meet the criteria or the zoning that I think it's 200 feet. Is it 200 feet at the building line, Julian? So we basically
Yeah.
show that at the building line and set back far enough from the road, because it has to be out of the throat or out of the flagpole of the lot, that they all meet zoning. It's not necessarily where we're gonna put the house, but it's the minimum place that we could put the house.
That's all he's done, Kevin.
It can't come any closer to the
Yes.
throat.
He
That's
could.
the closest it can be to the throat of the 50-foot access.
Yeah, and that's
They can go further back. They can't come closer.
that's what we've asked for all of the special permits. Show us the line, and if the closest to, and most of the builders have been putting them right on that line. The house can go anywhere in there, but that
For the
means,
plan purposes.
for the plan purposes, correct.
And then location of the house is determined at what point?
When the customer chooses where he wants it.
The customer can put it wherever they want, right, okay.
Yes, correct. As long as it doesn't go behind that, on the other side of the line that it's on now.
All right, no, those are all just, so you're selling the lots and then you're building the houses after?
That's my normal, usually, sometimes I build specs, but most of the time I build a house that's pre-sold on a lot.
Okay. That was the only question I had on the top of my list.
Yeah, I didn't, everything, the layout was, it follows the 50-foot frontage, it's got 200-foot setback, and it's over 5 acres of land. From the special permit perspective, it's done everything it's required. So I'll ask if there's any other comments from the board.
No.
Okay, I'll open it up to the public. So any public comment, please, one at a time, and ask questions.
Hi there. Hello.
Oh, and
Sorry,
please identify
Brian?
yourself.
Hi, I'm Brian King, 25 Brintnal Drive. Hi, can you hear me?
Hi.
Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead with your question.
Okay, my question is to go back, because I'm so happy you brought up that lot 5, because that's the one obviously that touches the back of my house. And I'm glad you kind of clarified like that it had to be that far back, because where that right now, where that house is, that's pure swamp. So I don't see, I mean, it's showing, I don't know if that's a driveway going there, but that's all Ware River watershed going right next to my neighbor Paul Gould's house. So I don't understand how they can access into that house from that point. That's right across from your house, Norm. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's no way that they could put a driveway right on top of that water flow going right into the swamp. So I'm not sure of why it's that house shouldn't be up where the biggest chunk of the land is top. Why wouldn't be going in off that road, I guess, with the other?
Mr. King, I can clarify that to what Mr. Jarvie asked earlier. We just ask on the plans, because part of the specification or the bylaw is that any house built has to be behind that 200-foot point to point off of the where the driveway comes in. So when they put proposed house, there can't be a house on the other side of that line. So that doesn't mean the house is going to go there. That's where they can build a house, and then from there on back, they can build it anywhere on the property.
Right. Well, that whole thing there, that whole area is, everyone who's familiar, that whole lower section is a complete swamp, so unless they fill it in, which is, you know, I would presume it have to be on the upper portion of that. Maybe that's why they cut that the way it did with that little Z section, what we can
Drag
see.
it down to show the upper section there.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
Now,
Yeah,
read-
so I would presume, maybe
See where
Mr.
that
Blair,
other
you can,
house is he just
with
went
that,
by.
that would be what that house would have to be, I would presume, up in that upper portion, because that whole lower
Lot-
portion behind
lot
me.
6, and lot 5 is the very top one.
Yeah.
Now go down below where the arrow is, it says driveway and utility easement. Stop, yeah, just, right there, see the, on the right-hand side, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
See what it just, you went by it.
Oh, no, I see it right there where
Okay.
it says 71.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I missed that, Dick. I didn't see that. So
So
is the
there's
intent to bring a driveway?
There's a possibility that driveway will be there rather than, like he said, in the wetland.
Can we do that?
Why not?
Not in this proceeding.
Can I
Yeah,
answer
But
that?
later on,
Site plan for a two-lot common driveway.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's not a discussion for the special permit.
I think there's about to be a comment from the applicant on that easement issue.
Yes, to Dick's question, Julian or Norm, could you answer that?
No?
I'm
What do
sorry.
you mean?
Clea?
I meant Clee and Julian.
Whoa.
Julian, you wanna answer that, or you want me to?
You can,
So,
you answer first and I'll support.
you don't need, it's a driveway for that lot number 5.
Okay.
It will eventually be that, because you don't need I don't know what the criteria is for 2 houses on 1 driveway. I think it's a by right.
Site plan review for 2 lot, for common driveway for 2 lots.
Yeah,
Right,
you
but
don't,
it's-
you don't need a special permit, just gotta do a site plan.
Just by right. Okay, yeah, so that's what we've left it there for, so that we can access that other lot.
And that's
So
not.
that, so that answers my question, and then that house would be up in that upper lot portion.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I just, that was my biggest, because when I saw that picture of that house, I was like, how are they gonna do that? You know?
It's a beautiful view up there, too.
Yeah, it is, it is.
Any other comments from the public?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
So my name,
Oh, hi, Fred.
hi. Yeah, so my name's Kurt Grohl, also Fred. I use Zoom for work, so I have Fred on there. I live directly across from the main entrance there at 52 Brintnal Drive. So I have 10 questions. A couple of them I think have been answered by seeing this plan. So I'll ask the other ones. I think in terms of process, I think Clea, they can go directly to you if that works okay for process. And I have at least one for the planning board.
That's your call, Tim, I think.
Yeah,
Wanna run this
go,
through?
Clea, you okay with, questions coming to you? Cause I'm fine.
Absolutely, as long as, it's all up to you, Mr. Chairman, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good
I'm
however you
fine
want to.
with putting them through. We just need to record the questions and make
Okay.
sure we get them in our minutes. Go ahead with
Okay.
question 1.
Okay, question one is, I'm presuming these are all septic and well, is that correct?
Well, no, we're proposing water and sewer there, town water, town sewer.
And where would it come in?
It comes from the Bear Hill subdivision. It's gonna come up the easement that right now they're using for an access. And then it's gonna come up the center of the road and up the side of the road. Sewer comes up the center, water goes up the side.
And in terms of these driveways and road in the, let me just, maybe just clarification, the road that's in the middle that comes off opposite my house, is that a driveway for a single house?
It may be the one that's for 2, but
Okay.
I don't see where your house is on here.
Oh, so
Fred.
see this, if you could slide the plot plan to the left a little bit. Where,
Fred,
David-
is that the 66.74? Or the one that is next to, I think the other way, Dave.
Yeah, if you slide the plot.
There
plan
you
to
go.
the
The one that's 66.74 feet.
Yes,
That's
that's
the one
correct.
you're asking about. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So that is a driveway that will service the 2 lots that Brian just asked about.
Okay, So the water and sewer then that comes from, you said it came from Bear Farm?
It will come from Bear Hill Subdivision,
Bear
yes.
Hill Subdivision. So that'll come from the east of that.
Right under the drive, D of drive.
I don't- If that north arrow is correct, then, yes.
Okay, and it would go all the way down Brintnal to 3 driveways that are furthest to the west?
It'll go all the way in front of the lots and all the way down to lot 13, which is on the left-hand side of the road. It'll go to the crest of the hill up there. So, it'll come, I think that it crests right around, is it crest right around where you are, Brian? Where your house is? Or is it?
No, it crests up, I'm down on the bend. So like, it crests up by, you know, see where you have the two structures at the top? He had I forget the gentleman's name, he had the fire, he lost the house, he rebuilt it.
Yeah, George Jones, yep.
Yeah, George Jones, yeah, behind him, that's the crest. Yep, up there.
Okay, well, in Brintnal Drive is wherever the top of the hill is, we're gonna stop the sewer, and then we're gonna use E1 pumps, which is a pump. But, you know, I believe everything that comes in there right now will have laterals off the street, and we'll have water and sewer right to there.
Okay, just to clarify, the crest on Brintnal Drive is at my house, so it's at this center driveway of the 7 driveways you have.
So that would be where the sewer line, the main sewer line, trunk line would stop.
Okay, thanks. I guess question for the planning board at this point, does that mean that houses like mine have to hook up to water or have to hook up to sewer?
The planning board really doesn't make that. That would be probably a question for Chief Buckley. The planning board doesn't really have any authority over sewer and water hookups.
I can answer that. It's not something the town is doing, Fred.
Yeah.
It's something I'm doing. What that does is, let's say you go to sell your house and your septic fails.
Right.
You can then petition the town to tie in, so you go to sell your house at some day and you don't need a Title V because there's sewer in front of it. Okay. But if there would be a betterment, if the town put a sewer line in that you had to use, there would be a betterment fee that you would have to pay. This isn't that. This is just to service that subdivision. So I'm certain that the answer is that you don't have to tie in.
Clea, I'm going to tell you, no, don't use the word subdivision.
Well, okay, front lots.
Thanks.
Okay, sorry.
And so to explain it then, Clea, there's actually upside potential for us if we don't want to tie into it now. If we needed to in the future, we could petition the town to request to tie into it.
That's exactly correct.
Okay, thanks.
You could do it now if you want. I'm required to put laterals to houses, so you could do it now if you want.
Oh, super. That's a good thing to know. Okay. All right, my frontage on Brintnal is answered, so number 2 is off the list. House setbacks, it looks like they're pretty far, so I think I won't even ask that question. These are to scale here. I can see how far they are. The 4th question is about this entrance that's opposite my house, the middle driveway of the 7. That's a pretty steep grade there. I don't know the exact angle and the exact height, but will you be following that existing elevation or generating a shallower grade onto Brintnal? Okay,
so we're going to be cutting that down substantially because I'm going to be using the fill when I build Brintnal Estates around the corner. So that's going to be plus it's way too steep. You can't even put a driveway in at that steepness. Okay. But yeah, it's going to be cut down pretty good.
So I'm sorry. So when you come onto Brintnal Drive, it'll be level there?
Well, actually, we would probably make it so that it would have like a 50-foot leveling area, and then from there, we'll go up at probably a 10-12% pitch from there. So 12 feet and 100 it would rise.
Okay. All right, super. Will that particular entrance, oh yeah, I guess, do you have the width on there of that drive?
It's 50 feet. Well, the driveways have to be, I think, minimum 10 feet, the tar area. Paved area, but that easement is 50. Well, actually, it's 66.74.
Oh, that's what
I'm looking at the plan.
Yeah. Okay. 66. So do you plan on that the contour of that entrance being, essentially a squared right angle, or, square as square that is, or would it be a radius contour curving in?
It would be more like a driveway access. The way we have it planned right now would be more like a driveway access. So it would just probably meet the edge of the road at the angle that it's at, that it comes into the road.
So it'd be 66 feet, so large, so I guess is my next question. The planning for large vehicles to go up there, given that I originally thought it might be all 7 houses, but I see that that's not the case. It's maybe 1 or maybe 2. But is there, built into this plan, provisions for large trucks to be able to get in and out of there, like garbage trucks? Because this part of Brintnal in front of my house is very narrow.
The Brintnal Drive itself cannot be touched in width unless the planning board approves it. It's a historic road, and it has to stay exactly like it is. You can't touch the stone walls, you can't touch the trees, except for, if you get planning board approval or if they're off the street easement. So you would definitely be able to get garbage trucks in there and out of there. I mean, we can make it so that it would do that, but I can't widen the road in front of your house if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I was actually asking the opposite because I knew what you said about Brintnal. That can't be widened, and we wouldn't desire it to be widened. So I was thinking that entranceway has to be wide enough, maybe with a radius curvature on it. So large trucks can make the turn, since Brintnal is so narrow there.
That's correct.
Right. Yes.
Sort of along the same line of thought, is there planning in this for snow removal to be able to be made on that road? Because directly across from that entrance, of course, the edge of the road right in front of my house is the rock wall. So a snowplow can't be bringing snow down onto Brintnal from there.
I can answer that one.
Go ahead.
You're not allowed to push snow across any town road. So that cannot happen. All the snow has to be pushed up onto Cleveland. You cannot push it across the street across the road, anywhere. Actually, anywhere in Massachusetts.
So he couldn't come off his driveway and push it across, but now.
So that means the snow plow has to make all of his passes going up that road.
Well, he can go down, but then he can't push it across the street. Then he can push it to the sides.
Will there be?
But he can't push it. You can't push from the top of the hill down right at you. That can't happen.
Yeah.
Drive.
So I guess the question, Clea, is do you have a plan or provision for that? Because there's properties on either side of that road directly which snow couldn't be pushed onto.
It would be somebody's
The road
driveway.
is 6 feet wide there. The driveway is going to be, because it's possibly going to be a common driveway for 2 houses, and the town's requirement is actually, I believe, 18 feet for if we do go to route with a common drive. So you still have 40 feet of land to dump snow on. So that should be adequate.
Okay, on that 66.74 width, you're saying?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. That entrance road, is that going to be dirt to match Brintnal, or is that going to be paved?
No, it would probably end up being grindings, but it was going to be some type of asphalt. You can't. Yeah, I wouldn't leave it as a dirt road. No.
Okay. Actually, that brings up a question I hadn't thought of. There must be a provision in there for drainage then, since that's a downward slope coming right at my house.
We'd have to do something so that, usually you pitch the driveway so it rolls over to either side. The driveway would have a pitch to it, but they don't.
There is a gutter on the George Jones side of right now, so that's where we try to dump the water to, and go on the opposite side of the road that you live on, right?
Okay.
And then we go right along Brintnal, so it won't cross. We can't have it cross the road.
Okay, good. That would make me very happy. Okay, thanks. Are there any aesthetics planned for the entrance? You may have answered that when you said it looked just like a drive. You wouldn't plan on a rock wall there to match the historic road aspect?
I don't have any plans. I haven't even thought about that at this time. I haven't thought about doing anything like that.
Yeah, Clea, that would be up to the purchaser of the land, correct? Because as long as you're not taking a stone wall away, which is historic, it's up to the property owner, correct?
Yes.
As whoever they want to put it.
The building inspector will have the final plan. We're just doing the preliminary. Oh no, this is the plan just for the special permit, the actual.
I mean, maybe this guy needs to.
Yeah, Clea, let me throw something in. Marilyn had a good point. This plan here now is just for the special permit. When the house or the driveway or anything like that gets built, that will have to go through the building inspector. So
and the DPW.
And the DPW, because if there's going to be sewer and water, Chief Buckley's got to basically approve that and review it. So there's going to be a more detailed plan for this with the two other departments.
That's correct, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I think that's it for my questions. Thank you, Clea, for fielding them.
If you have any more, you want to have just give me a call anytime. I mean, I'm happy to answer any questions anytime.
Super. Thank you.
Any more questions or from the
Yes.
public?
Yes.
Please state your name and where your and your address, please.
Yes, I'm on the map. Joyce Golick. Can you pop the map again? I mean, I need to ask. I was at one of the meetings a couple years ago about the supposed access road right across from where I'm at, right there.
Yes.
Did I hear you right saying that that access road will become the, the way for you to bring the sewerage and everything? I mean, the
Utility.
The utilities, the water and sewer.
Electricity.
water and sewer will come up there.
Well, not for all of them, but for the ones that
For the ones, okay. Well, what I'm asking is, you might remember, we had the conversation at the meeting that on Google Maps, that road says Grizzly Drive. And we were told years, when your dad first started the development up there, that it was only gonna be an access road and it was eventually gonna be closed off.
That's true. Still the case.
It's still the case, okay.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Where my property is, and then there's the lot next to us, which, is there gonna be a house there? Or is that?
I apologize. I'm not familiar with where your property is.
Clea, right there on the
61,
map.
I'm right there.
There's a piece of property that says NFCB Blair Development Corp. And it's a pie shape.
Okay, so
And we're next to it.
Yes, there will be, Clea.
I can't see it. I don't know why. I got this thing all screwed up here.
It's right below lot 9. There's a pie shape right below lot 9.
It was one of the first ones with ANRs, Clea.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Now, what was the question again? I apologize.
Are you building a house there? Next to me?
If I'm looking at you from Brintnal Drive to the right?
Yes.
And what are all these driveways next to it, going through the woods?
Correct. Yes.
Roads and driveways?
Nope, just driveways.
Just driveways.
Okay. And am I gonna be able to see what's behind me? I mean, I'm thinking I wouldn't, but.
She's got a lot of, her house is right
I don't. Where's your house as opposed
It's
to?
over 500 feet through the woods, so I don't think so.
Yeah, I doubt it, Joyce. I do doubt it.
You don't think I'll see all that, but, and how soon would you be building a house next door to me? Or would you be,
So that one with that high would pass, yeah.
This is an A&R lot right now.
So it already is.
Its driveway would come out onto Brintnal, so it's not needed a special permit
Right,
for it.
okay.
It's already been A&R'd.
Did somebody shut the screen off, or is it just me? All of a sudden, there's
I don't
nothing
know.
on it.
Do you,
There we go, I got you.
You went to sleep. You went to sleep.
So again, I apologize, I couldn't
she was
see it.
asking Clee that if she would be able to see the house on lot 9 from her property.
Only because it's so far up the hill, maybe, but, you know, because it's such a high incline that goes up there, but, I don't think so. They're gonna be set back pretty far.
and how soon would you be building a house next to me?
It depends on how fast I sell it. The market's pretty good right now. But, I mean, I don't have any plans to start anything or even market anything there, for a while.
Okay. Where else can I see this map? I mean, so that I can save it and look at, I can see it on the planning board. I didn't get a chance to look at it before this meeting.
Anita's got that, if I'm not mistaken. It's at the town clerk's office, correct, Dave? Or is it with you?
We have a copy of the plan that I can send to you. The copy will be on the packet until the packet's taken down for the next meeting.
So it's on the plan, if you went to the town website, you could go to the planning board section of that website, and there's a packet there that has this plan in it. It's planning board packets for June 8th.
Okay.
And then if need be, David George, the town planner, has this plan in his office.
I have it in the office as a paper form. We also have it as a PDF.
Okay, thank you. And how soon will all this begin?
Well, we're in a hearing tonight, so if the hearing is closed and the planning board votes on it, next process we'll have a town planner write up the conditions for it, and then we would sign that off in 2 weeks or so. Okay, more than 2 weeks. And then that would be recorded after that with the Worcester Registry of Deeds, if I'm not mistaken.
First, it gets recorded with the town clerk. Then there's an appeal period that runs. After the appeal period ends, there's been no appeal taken. The applicant will then come down, get a certified copy from the town clerk, and then file that version with the Registry of Deeds in Worcester.
Thanks.
And then after that, if the applicant chose to apply for a building permit, the applicant could do that because the appeal periods have run.
Does that answer your question, Joyce?
Sort of. I'm just wondering, you know, there's been a lot going on down Brintnal and up in the development and everything. It's just,
A lot more gonna happen.
I don't know when we're gonna start at that. I know that's kind of your question, when you're gonna have houses near you. Probably not gonna be till next year.
and the, you know, there's a lot of added, noise that goes along with it, you know, just.
Yeah, I know.
A lot. Okay, well, I guess that's all I mean, that's all I wanted to know. I'm thinking I won't be seeing other people except maybe next door, if that happens. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments from the public or questions?
Yes, this is Andrew Brandt, 38 Brintnal Drive. With clarification, the houses on the bend, are they not going to have sewer and water? Or was it only the houses coming off near where that access road is?
All of them will have sewer and water.
Okay.
Even the one next to yours.
Okay. And, you know, just a, you know, public comment, you know, I think, you know, the planning board and the town are, you know, we're not doing justice, you know, approving, I think, these lots without giving a serious consideration for the improvement in the road. It's my understanding that a few years ago, when this applicant presented concept plans for building on this estate property, that, you know, there was talk amongst the planning board that there needed to be substantial improvements to the road before these houses were even considered to be constructed. So, you know, I don't know where that falls in with the special permit. But that being said, I just cannot believe we are looking to allow this applicant to construct this many houses in this location without giving any consideration to road improvements based on the condition of, you know, a dirt road that, yes, I know it's scenic, but, you know, I think we should really be talking about that.
Probably,
Clee.
excuse me, that's probably something you want to maybe do afterwards, after they've
Okay.
taken testimony from the public,
Yeah,
and after you go into your next round of discussion, I would think.
okay. Okay. Any other comment from the public?
Just one more comment from Joyce Golick. I mean, we've been here 36 years, and we built on this road because it was a dirt road and we liked it, and the, you know, how rural it was and everything. And I think if people move to or build on a road like this or move to a road like this, I don't know if Fred Grohl has the same feeling. There's a reason we want to be here, and I would hate to see Brintnal Drive change. And I have no plans, if I don't have to tie into town sewer and water. We've been perfectly happy on our lot and the way things are. That's what I have to say.
I can tell you this much, I don't expect that the planning board's never let us change Brintnal Drive before. I don't expect that they're gonna allow any changes now. Gonna stay the same.
I would look for improvements, not necessarily change, but I think it's certainly warranted. I think we're past that by now. And no, I'm not suggesting paving the road at all, so don't misconstrue that I'm saying that. I just been on this road for 3 years. I know the amount of activity that these houses are probably going to draw, which is, you know, I don't disagree with. I just feel like from a safety perspective, you know, they should be given some consideration what we can do to at least upgrade, you know, drainage, you know, whatever it's at, you know, crushed asphalt. That should be part of this equation.
Yeah, they don't let you do that.
There's scenic roads that are paved in the state of Massachusetts. But
it's not a scenic road, it's a historic road.
Can I just respond to that? Trust me that this road, you wouldn't believe it, you've been here 3 years, but it has improved compared to 36 years ago. But
That's true, because I was here.
You know, a long time ago, a bunch of neighbors opposed putting, you know, the kind of crushed pavement or whatever it is. This is a curvy, hilly road, and people speed down it already that do not even need to be on this road. And anyway,
I agree with you. It changes the character of what it is, and it creates, if you improve it, it creates people wanting to go faster than they already are.
And, you know, I spoke to the same thing a couple years ago at the meeting about up on Grizzly Drive, and people are speeding down this road. People are cutting through more because there's, you know, houses on either end, fine. But pavement would be a disaster. Any kind of, it would be it would be terrible.
If I remember correctly, I think that has to be approved at a town meeting.
I know, that's one of the reasons. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, most of the people, we're one of the last that are left on the road that were, you know, like us, George Jones, the Grolls, but, so, that's it. That's all I have to say.
Any other comments to this plan from the public?
Yes, David Reichert, 55 Brintnal Drive.
Go ahead, David.
So, I remain very concerned about the increase that this is going to result in traffic, in particular for 55 Brintnal. Our house lies nearly equidistant to both sides of the road, and we are also, directly across from Grizzly. I'm really concerned how this is going to impact the road over the coming years, especially with the past few years on Brintnal. The road has become increasingly impassable with a greater frequency. This was not the case, when I had moved in here back in 2013. It continues to get worse with each passing year as we continue to add more homes onto this house, or onto this road rather.
Okay.
In particular, when it comes to the construction, how exactly is that center road and the sewer really going to be managed? Because again, with the positioning of my particular house, I believe I am, in addition with the neighbors across from us, we have nowhere else to go. Like, we have no outlet if both of those areas are effectively blocked to us.
He's asking for on construction, when they would put in sewer lines or when they're doing the construction, what would be the effect on his access from his property to Brintnal? Clea, I know from the planning board, I don't think we can answer that.
Well, I can tell you that there's nothing we can do to change Brintnal Drive or your access to it. I wouldn't expect that would be the case.
Is he speaking of just during the construction?
Yeah.
During the
So
construction in particular.
Just during the construction, he wants to make sure he'll be able to get in and out of his house easily.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, we're always sensitive to that. I mean, it would be no different than, most of the stuff that you're gonna see going on is gonna be being built on the street, and there's only, 4 or 5 of those. The rest of them are out in the back, and those will be taking place, one at a time. I don't think it should affect you at all. I don't.
I mean, I am concerned about that big long road that's going to run all that septic though, because that's going to go right, through between our property and right through my garden. Like, I'm a little concerned how like any runoff or things like that are going to impact that particular area of our property or our groundwater. If there's been any assessments done in that capacity.
Let me ask, we're proposing town water and town sewer, not septic and well. So
right, you're still going to be digging everything up, right? And
digging it up, but just to dig foundations and so forth, not to put in septics. You know what I'm trying to say? Septic systems are private sewer for each house, but we're proposing town sewer lines. So there would be a lateral that would come up there, and the house would tie into it.
There'll be pipes.
You've also proposed grading that entire area, right?
We have to grade it to build the driveway. It's pretty steep.
Yeah, I'm concerned about all the general runoff coming from those homes that are likely going to do things like use lawn treatments, use whatever else they're doing in addition to construction over time. Like all that just.
These are all 5-acre lots, pretty much. This is Julian. These are all large lots. So the stormwater is really not that affected when you've got such large parcels of property. These aren't half-acre lots. These are 5-acre plus. So you shouldn't have any issues with that.
And even with the runoff that exists when we build them, we always build diversions and big ponds at the bottom. So we don't normally have too much issue with it running off onto other people's land.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the public or comments?
Yes, one more question from Fred Wall. I know, Clea, to Joyce's comments earlier about, or actually even earlier than that, about betterments of the road, you pointed out that the betterments would be drainage. They wouldn't be, paving it, this sort of thing. With the sewer line running up there, there would not, I'm presuming there would not be any manhole covers then put onto Brintnal. Is that correct?
Every
No, there would
250,
be manhole covers.
it would be manholes. Every 250 feet, you have to put a manhole. That's the way it's
But
spec.
they're flush with the gravel, so they'll be fine.
Oh, you're gonna be off to the side of the road?
No, it'll be right, they normally make us put it right up the middle, sewer, and then water goes on the side. So you will see manhole covers, for sure.
So I guess I'm really concerned about how those would live on the road, not only from the aesthetic viewpoint in terms of changing the historic road, because that's gonna look a lot different, right? But also from plowing. I mean, there are many winters living on this road for not as long as Joyce, but the last 26 years, that we have 18 inches of mud in January that is the consistency of shaving cream. And so ground clearance becomes, our vehicles, my truck goes down into ruts, 14 to 16 to 18 inches deep. How could we manage having manhole covers in that dirt road?
Fred, I don't want to take away your question. It's a valid question, but that's going to be more for Chief Buckley when the sewer design actually happens. He's going to be 2 points. He's going to be plowing it and he's going to be maintaining the sewer. So he's going to have to work with Mr. Blair to make sure those concerns are addressed.
Okay, it seems like a pretty big physics problem to me.
He might have us put the covers down below the surface. He might have us keep it down, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
You never know. It'll be up to him where he wants them placed. So he'd know where they are. So he could measure off a point here or there, and then he can, if there is a problem in the manhole, he could just dig to it rather than have it be flush with it. It's probably the way he'll make us do it. But in all normal cases, they want you in the middle of the street, and they want the manhole covers right at the top. But in this case, you might be right. Yeah, I've been in those ruts myself. I know what you're talking about.
I think they would be damaged. Vehicles would be damaged. All kinds of things would go bad.
Yeah, what would happen is one of the guys driving the plow will go through the windshield when they hit him. Is what would happen.
Exactly. So yeah, I didn't realize you could bury them, but that seems like a very logical solution.
Yeah,
I mean, we solve the physics problem and solve the aesthetic problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, thanks.
Any more questions or comments from the public?
Just that, that was a great point. And again, those are things that came up. I don't think the applicant even considered that. We need to make sure, based on the complexity of this road, we're talking about how we want to maintain the, appeal of the scenic road, yet we're going to put manhole covers. So I'm hearing conflicting comment. I just want to make sure that, Joe Buckley, we take our time to really make sure that we're considering the complexity of the road when we're doing this project, because I don't want it to keep coming back. I think we'll do a huge disservice to the town.
David Reichert, 55 Brintnal. I'd like to echo the same comment. Like our house was built in 1743, and we bought it because it was 1743 on a historic road. Like we really value the look and feel of our investment.
Fred Grohl here. I'd also third that.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions for the planning board or for the applicant?
Hearing none.
Hearing none.
I move to close the public hearing.
I second.
Hello?
Oh,
Hello?
yes.
Deb Flanagan. Across the street, nobody seems to be addressing the fact that these properties are in swamps and that the runoff from the crowns of the hill run into those swamps. The snow gets pushed into the swamps. There's high bush blueberries in these. These aren't just flat pieces of land. There's sides of ledges. Nobody seems to be taking the topography into account here. And on the other side of Joyce's house, that's all been wet too, and water used to go across the street there before those houses went in. Nobody seems to be addressing the natural waters, the drainage, where it goes. What's going to happen to all these properties? Are you going to build them on stilts?
Did I answer that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please, go ahead.
So basically what happens is when we go to build a house, we have to file, if there are wetlands on the property, we're required to file with Conservation Commission. When we do that, they dictate how we work in those areas. I don't know that there's too much wetland on this property. You know,
Not wetland.
no, I don't think so. I mean, Julian, you can answer that better than me, but we did a pretty extensive search up there. I don't see a whole lot of wetland up above. I don't. I mean, there's some wetland along the street.
Clay, what Deb's talking about is down, because she's across the street from me, I'm 25, that was what I first talked to you about, behind me, you know how that lower lot, lot 5?
Oh, yeah, that's some back there is. Yeah, I'm talking to the right. Yeah, I know.
Through the,
Yeah,
through
see,
those three,
she's
yeah.
thinking
Across
that,
the Andrew, and where those driveways are
And
going to go
down that
in,
end, there's
that's
wetlands
all
down
wet,
there.
wetland, and it's wet year-round. It's not
That's
just
the only two places.
sort of wet. And
This
you
is,
can't-
this is Julian. We will be going to Concom for any work proposed within 100 feet of a wetland. They'll walk the land, verify the wetland flags and how it was delineated under DEP standards, and that's how we'll work. We'll work with what's there. If
Yeah.
there is a wetland, you can't go through it, so we will avoid it.
For the
But the
public,
lots that are right along the street are wetlands.
for the public's knowledge, this is just for the special permit for the estate lots. This design or this pieces of property still has to go through the Conservation Commission. So there's another step that the applicant has to go through.
Well, the
If there's
Conservation
wetlands,
Commission isn't very good at keeping wetlands as wetlands. That's how you got
disagree
that
with
bridge
that.
on Grizzly Road.
That's why there's a bridge. Because they
Well,
made us
yeah,
put it
you-
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put a bridge in and tried to recreate swampland, which was not successful.
I think we did a
Whatever was
perfect job.
Let's
Well,
We
of
disagree.
course you did.
let's keep the comments to this piece of property, please.
Well, on this piece of property, you also have to take into account that there'll probably be school buses coming down. And this, where these driveways are coming out, that's gonna create more problems with school buses being on the road. It's hard enough for them to get down the road as it is. And to address some of the newer people on the street is probably 3 times as wide as it was when I built my house here. So, and there were nice deep ditches on the side that Mr. Mosio loves towing cars out of, but that's another.
Or taking UPS trucks out like I've had to do.
Weren't they opening up a one-room schoolhouse there, and I thought she was gonna be the teacher?
Watch it.
Excuse me?
No, I was just picking on you, that's all.
Yeah? Don't pick too much. I know how to run a chainsaw.
I'd actually get the nun paddle out and do his knuckles. Any other comments or questions for the board or the applicant?
Quick question. On some of these lots that don't have houses, I mean, I can't see that close, but there's like a house straight on the bend, got a lot number, but no proposed house. Is that for future discussions, or why do we do that?
The explanation, those are what we call A&R lots because their frontage and the lot size is on a town road. There's not a need for a special permit for an estate lot. So those have already been approved as approval not required lots. I think it's lot 10, 2, and then the other one that's next to Joyce's.
Number 1, 1 to 10.
1, yeah, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 10 have already been approved because their frontage and their lot size is standard for an R60 zone in Rutland.
Okay, thank you.
One quick question is about lots 7, 8, and 9. The driveway that's going up through near 55 Brintnal.
Oh, I'm sorry, could,
What's that?
just, for our meeting minutes, can you just, identify yourself before
Sure,
you?
David Reichert, 55 Brintnal Drive.
Thank
Just
you.
a question about lots 7, 8, and 9. I know there's that driveway in between. I want to check. That driveway will not ever be used by those 3 lots, right? Like there wouldn't be plans that would somehow be redrafted to repurpose that to instead, serve those homes as well as lots 5 and 6?
That,
No.
I don't know where he's talking, is he?
Clea,
I'm having trouble seeing
that
it.
long driveway that goes up to lot 8 and then potentially can go to lot 5, he's asking if lot 7, 8, and 9, if that long driveway could be used as a common driveway somewhere in the future.
And the answer to that is yes. It can be. Whether I do or not is another question, but
You
the
can
town
use
has
it.
a,
You can use it
Town
for
allowed.
a maximum of 3 lots, if I'm not mistaken, by our bylaws. So
Yes.
only 3 of those lots could be serviced by a common driveway. Unless there were multiple common driveways. So does that answer your question that only 3 of those lots that you were asking about could be used as a common driveway?
Yes, it's not the answer I was hoping for, but it is an answer.
Yes, our bylaw, just a quick education, 2 lots are a site plan review, a 3rd lot is a special permit. So the applicant would have to come back to the planning board for a special permit, and we'd have to have another hearing if there was gonna be 3 lots on the common driveway.
yeah, but it can be done, is the answer.
Correct. I'll ask,
Time to get to the
Last
Dodge.
question, thank you.
is there any more questions about this specific special permit? Because want to make sure we got everything answered, but we've got a couple other things we've got to handle on our agenda. Hearing none,
Motion to close hearing.
Second,
any discussion with the board? I'll take a roll call vote for the closing. Kevin? Aye. Maryland?
aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Tim? Aye. And
Aye, aye,
Mr. Anderson recuses. Yep.
On this, I have a simple question here, but between these 2 lots that are already built there, there's a dotted line between the 2?
I think that's a property line, is it not?
So why is it
Clea,
dotted?
Clea, a quick question for you. For between the Reichart and Joyce's property, is that dotted line just an assumption of property line? Because I know it doesn't pertain to your plan, but is that what that is?
Yeah,
Okay, thanks,
yeah,
Julian.
this is Julian. Yes,
I can't
that is.
see it.
I see
Thanks,
it, yes,
Julian.
that's the neighbor's property line.
Okay.
Excellent. That was one question of the board.
That was my question, Marilyn, and thank you.
Okay, with
All
the
right.
hearing closed.
Yep. And Norm, you can come back.
Well, no,
Oh,
the
we
question
gotta-
is, do we want to move ahead and approve the special permit?
Or do you have any other discussion about
Yeah,
anything
that's,
else?
yeah, if there was any other, after we close the hearing, any other discussion? Marilyn had one question. Yes, this is where I will let Dick bring up the question from the board about.
The developer shall have placed on Brintnal 400 cubic yards of gravel from Palmer Gussit.
Clea, did you hear that?
You want me to put 400 yards of gravel down?
That was a discussion that we'd had earlier about putting some gravel on Brintnal in front of the properties.
I mean, hold on, like, you want like 4 inches of gravel? Like I did on Glenwood Place, is that what you're looking for?
Well, 6 would be nice.
Well, we used, on Glenwood Place, we used ABC. I don't know, do they use that stuff on Brintnal?
No.
Just regular standard gravel is not gonna hold up. I mean,
Yeah.
the stuff that's on there now is, I was down there the other day, it's packed in really good. I don't know what that is, but it's not just plain gravel.
David, should we put some, I guess what I'm asking is, I really want the chief's input on this, Chief Buckley's.
I'm happy to fix, because I'm gonna be working in the road anyway. I'm happy to fix it, so if you wanna condition it that I'll, place gravel in front of the houses, I don't mind that. In
Okay.
front of my property is okay. To Joe Buckley specs.
Yeah, we were talking about, like,
The halt is,
basically from, not in front of them, but on the,
No, it's
on
too
the
thin.
Brintnell Drive.
Right. Brintnell Drive itself.
Yeah, Brintnell Drive, so basically that section would have gravel on it, not just in front of the individual houses.
Right. You want, like, from that lot, those 3 driveways next to Joyce in that lot, all the way up to the other end where the other 3 driveways are.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. What do you want, 6-inch minus?
Let's talk about that when we get to the conditions.
Okay. Well, you can just say according to Chief Buckley specs.
Yeah, we'll come up with some verbiage and see if it's agreeable to you.
Okay.
pardon?
Let me see what Joe said. Here's a letter from Joe Clee. He's it says the developer shall place on Brintnal cubic yards of gravel from what he's asking for is Palmagussit Road to end of frontage portion of lot 7 on the plan, on your entitled plan.
I would think that would be an awful lot of gravel, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm only required normally to, but where these A&R lots,
Yep.
I would say I don't want to do it from there, all the way from there, but I don't mind doing it in front of where I'm working.
Okay.
Well,
Dave?
maybe I could just meet with Joe and see what he's looking for. I mean,
Dave,
that's
can you? Yeah,
that's
if
one of the
Clea, I'd like Dave and yourself and Chief Buckley to have that discussion. Is that-
Sure. Yeah, I'm
Dave?
happy with that.
Yeah.
We can just condition it to that. I'll do it to his satisfaction.
I'll leave it up to the
But
board.
I'm,
whether you think
I'm
that
building
that's
7, 9, or 10 houses. And I'm not building if it's only 400 feet of road, that's not much. I don't know. It seems like it's more than that though.
Yeah, well, I did a quick count from lot, I think it is 9, over by Ranford, all the way over to Fred's property. It's about 2,000 feet.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more than 400 feet.
Yeah, it's 2,000 feet. So, well, this is what
Well, if he's coming out from Brintnal Estates,
Oh yeah.
then he can finish it.
yeah.
So,
So I guess I'm gonna, Dave, is this something that, even if we closed the hearing and voted on it, we'd still have to do the conditions, correct? So this would be part of one of the conditions that we would apply to the special permit.
Right. I think
Right.
what you have there is what I'd understood to be a draft condition,
Okay,
based upon some prior discussions that happened before tonight's meeting on
okay,
this matter. If that's not correct and you want to limit it, it should be fairly defined in terms of a location.
that's why I wanna have
Not just
Chief,
open-ended so that it's not tractable, so.
that's why I wanted the condition to have Chief Buckley and yourself and,
someplace on Brintnal Drive. Just leave
Yeah,
it.
I'm happy to have that condition.
okay,
Whatever it takes to satisfy him. I don't want to mess up the street.
okay. All right, well, that was, so we closed the hearing, we vote on the special permit. What's our time frame? I can't remember to get the orders of condition and everything done. Is that 45
The
days?
decision has to be drafted 90 days after the
90.
close of the hearing for a special permit.
All right, so we've got time to have that discussion with Joe and get that.
No. You'd have the conditions the conditions wouldn't hang out there later unless you kept the hearing open. If you close the hearing, you need to have some specificity on your conditions. There are the standard conditions in terms of the filing requirements, but this would have to be, you either want to keep the hearing open and have that fleshed out some, or you close it with a condition in place relative to gravel. It's not proper to have a condition after the fact, after the hearing's closed. That hadn't been discussed or adjudicated on during the meeting when it was open, the hearing.
I would condition it that way, Tim. That's satisfactory to me, and that sounds satisfactory to you guys.
So we,
just
we
put that condition
voted
in
to
there.
close the hearing.
It's all closed.
Yeah.
You didn't vote the matter.
No.
You closed the hearing, which is one part, you hadn't
Yeah.
voted to take final action, a vote on.
Yeah, so we need to do that, so I guess the question of the board, do we leave this, before we vote on the special permit, get this flushed out, and then, vote on the special permit?
I think a little more discussion is needed, just
Okay.
because, the notes I took is that the one thing that all the existing homeowners are looking for is that Mr. Blair's gonna maintain the road and keep it looking. If this is a condition about the road, I think we need to make sure it's.
All right.
Why doesn't that condition work, Tim? I'm trying to figure out if that's a condition, then.
Well, I don't wanna leave it open-ended, I wanna have definition to it. And without,
Well, right now, the condition would say, to the satisfaction of the DPW director.
Yeah.
So what would happen is you guys were gonna go talk to the DPW director with me, and we're gonna figure out what he wants, but if you already conditioned it to that, what are you doing any different?
Dave, what's your
So
thought?
I'm just trying to see,
That's pretty open-ended.
Why leave it, I mean, just say to the satisfaction, it's pretty simple, to the satisfaction of DPW. And if I can't meet the condition, well, then it's not approved. You know what I mean? But I don't care, if you wanna leave it open for another couple of weeks, that's fine, I mean, but I'm just making a statement that, we can settle this if it's conditioned that way, or if, however you wanna do it, I guess. It shouldn't be, I don't mean to argue about it.
No, you're not arguing, Clea, I'm thinking. Dave, what,
Well, I guess probably the question number one is, where would the gravel be placed? Would it just be on the site, on the development area, or would it go out as far as Palmagussit?
yeah.
And then how much gravel do you think is necessary? Or would you leave that to the discretion of the DPW director, that the gravel be placed in a certain area as shown on the plan?
I don't think I'd gravel the road all the way from Palmagussit, I gotta be honest with you, I think that's a little bit excessive. But if he wants me to just put, a few truckloads of gravel down and vibratory roll the road, well, that's different, I can help him with that. That's what we did down at Glenwood Place,
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to give the board some guidance on what its decision making is. And that there seems to be two main questions here.
Yeah, that's why I'm struggling to vote on the special permit now until, Clea, if it's okay with you, I personally, and I'll get the rest from the board, I'd like to leave it open before we vote on this special permit for another meeting.
I think once you close it, so you don't want to approve, you can just say approved with conditions, then you have time to write the conditions. What, I don't understand, I don't think that's doing it the right way. You either approve or deny them, and if you approve them with conditions, you write the conditions, you submit them to the clerk. You have time to do that, don't you, Dave?
Yeah, but we could write any condition we want.
Well, that's exactly it.
I just, Clea, the reason I was thinking this, and I think I know Kevin, I see what Kevin's saying, is that we want to make sure you're on board with our conditions. That's why I'd like to wait another meeting to make sure we as a board and with Dave has had discussions with the DPW, and then you can be involved in that, of course, but everybody's on board with the condition that we're thinking of, which the main one is the road. It's the reason why I'd like to have some time to have that discussion. Instead of just
I understand, and I'm okay with it. I'm just trying to point out that you closed the public hearing, so I really can't give you any input any longer.
I would suggest that the hearing be reopened and then continued to the next meeting. So if you undo this motion to close the hearing, then it's open, then the discussion can be had about the condition.
Yep.
And if there's any new testimony that the board would like to take at the next meeting, you can do that. If anybody else has any final comments they'd like to make, you have the opportunity to do that.
Dave, excellent. Do I hear a motion to,
No, I say for crying out loud, just say what you have right there, let's go. Just make it, just say on Brintnal Drive. Don't say the whole thing, just say Brintnal Drive. 400 cubic yards is what Cleve said the last time, so let's leave it like that. Let's close it up and move on.
I can do, I mean, if you wanna say 400 cubic yards, I'm happy with that.
yeah, but what came from Joe is developer shall place on Brintnal 400 cubic yards of gravel from Palmagussit Road to the end of the frontage portion of lot referenced as Lot 7 on the entitled plan. The work shall be conducted under general supervision of the Town of Rutland Department of Public Works. The placement of the gravel shall be prior to the first certification of occupancy for Lot 5 as shown on the above reference plan.
I would eliminate that from Palmagussit.
But that's Joe's.
I mean, I see what he's
I
saying.
know.
So what he's saying is 400 yards of gravel is approximately 20 truckloads, okay?
Yep.
What he's saying is from Palmagussit Road to the end of that, and if I'm misunderstanding, I don't think I am, that the 400 yards is gonna fix the road, all of that road. It's not like I gotta place 4 inches of gravel or 6 inches of gravel all the way from Palmagussit to there. He's saying that I've gotta place 400 yards of gravel. I mean, that's fine. And if that's what he wants me to do from Palmagussit Road to the end there, I'm more than agreeable to that. That's no problem.
What does that equate to in thickness? Would you have any clue? The math in your head?
I mean, it wouldn't even, that's thousands of feet of road. That would be zero thickness. What Joe's doing is having me patch it up. I can see what he's doing. You know, it's not gonna be, it's 400 yards of gravel. I mean, that's nothing. It's nothing.
Dave, that's what Joe, this is his response, correct?
This is my attempt to write a condition,
Okay.
as I understood it, based upon prior conversations. This has some feedback from Joe, but he's not the exclusive author of this.
Okay.
All right, so leave it open and let's figure out what the hell's going on in that. Yeah, let's just reopen the hearing and we'll put it off till in 2 weeks.
I'll make a motion, we reopen the hearing.
I second.
Any discussion? Dick, I got your discussion.
Nope.
All right, I'll move to,
We have to vote on
Wait,
No.
we have a roll call vote?
yep, that's what I was gonna say. No, I was gonna say there's no further discussion. Roll call vote, Kevin?
Aye.
Maryland?
Aye.
Dick?
No.
Tim? Aye. Motion passes 3-1. Hearing reopened, and I need a motion to continue.
I make a motion to continue the hearing on, do I need a date?
Yes,
Till, 2 weeks from tonight, which is,
the 25th,
June
or 27th.
22nd? 25th, isn't it?
22nd.
22nd, yeah.
June 22nd.
At,
You can make it anytime you want. I would probably not do it any earlier than 6:45 in case there's ANRs and
let's
other
do
business.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right.
And also, just for the benefit of the public, because this is a continuance, there's not gonna be a re-notification through an abutters list or re-notification in the newspaper. This is your knowledge that this matter's been continued to a date certain.
Yeah, so you could check our agenda and see that this motion, or this hearing will be continued to our next meeting.
Okay.
Great.
Can I ask one question?
We need a second on the vote.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fred Grohl.
Oh, just second.
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Kevin?
Aye.
Maryland?
Aye.
Dick?
Abstain.
Abstain, and Tim, aye. Motion passes 3 yeas and 1 abstain. Okay, I'm sorry. Fred, did you have a question on the continuance?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry?
That is, yes, I do. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. It's just a process question. I believe, I remember reading that June 22nd was the date that the planning meetings were in person instead of Zoom meetings. Would the 22nd be a Zoom meeting since the it's a continuation, or would it be in person?
I'm gonna have to ask you to check the
I can
agenda,
answer
because we
that
don't
que-
have
I
a,
can answer that question
okay.
after, like, based upon guidance that we've received, the state of emergency ends on June 15th. All meetings from there on out will be held in person with a remote meeting option. So if you would like to come and participate in person, you may do so. Otherwise, you may do so using a remote option, which will be available to you. And that information will be listed on the agenda at that time.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. I guess we will move on with that continuance.
You got to vote on that?
Yes, it was 3 yeses and 1 abstain. And with that being done, Mr. Anderson, you're now in charge. I've had my first exciting meeting. Thank you for your support.
Before we lose this in the shuffle, can I just get that?
I'm gonna get you everything back.
Just a quick comment before we go on. I think I can do this. I don't know if I'll be doing it. I believe probably the reason that Joe wants that gravel from Palm Augusta down, that section basically from Palm Augusta down to right about my driveway, basically collapses every spring.
Well, so he's looking for a sub base basically on there.
And, you know, they have to come in and, separately, grade even just those sections. The houses that he built on the side of the hill, they really disturbed the base of the road up there when they were putting in all that stuff. So it's not solid anymore. Okay? So in the springtime particularly, sometimes in the fall, from there, there's 2 or 3 other sections where it just goes down and you do get the 6, 8, 10 foot or 10-inch ruts.
Okay.
So that's just FYI. Okay. Next we have item 7, Maple Hill Estates Administration. I don't believe we have anything on Maple Hill. Brice Lemon, we do have a report from Quinn Engineering. I didn't notice if there was anything particularly spectacular on that. I can find it here.
Wasn't he just showing?
Yeah, he's got an update on phase 2 and an update on phase 3.
Yeah. Is Clee still, you still there, Clee? Did we lose them all? They're all gone?
He's still there.
I'm here, sorry about that, I couldn't unmute myself.
Clee, I had a question from this Quinn report about the National Grid. Are they putting underground in there, just out of curiosity?
No, well, we installed the conduit and then they put the wire in, but that's, yeah, all your subdivisions, you require underground wiring, yes.
All right.
And the charter's already put their wire in too.
Okay, just curious, that's it.
Yeah, no problem.
Right up to 6. You gotta be close to it.
It's 8. 8 is the,
Yeah,
7 is nothing.
it's all the way in the back. So you gotta go through the postal thing, which is a,
Keep going. It's
going
a
postal.
few pages from the end.
You're getting close.
Oh, go right before that. Should be right before it. There it is.
Okay. Anyway, I visited Brice Lemon on Monday, and they were still working on putting in the conduit.
Okay.
And so forth. I guess the one thing that, I'm gonna assume that they're gonna patch it back up. They have dug, and I think it was noticed, either in this one, yeah, under phase 3, the second bullet.
Yep.
It says portions of the binder course have been cut to accommodate electrical service, and it looked like what they had filled back in with the gravel had sunk substantially, and even the edges, you know, where they had cut it was starting to, you know, kind of break away. So that's gonna be just something that I think they need to keep an eye on.
Did you hear that, Clay?
I noticed that yesterday, Norm. I gotta get that. What we'll do is we'll get some more, I think we put some stone in it today. I told those guys to fix it, but, you know, it just settled. You know, National Grid couldn't get me the design before I paved because I paved late in the fall. So I had to, wait, and, then I had to cut them in after. Those are the crossovers, which you normally put in before you pave the road. The National Grid didn't get me the design in time, so I had to put the crossovers in after.
Just trying to avoid maybe the same kind of possibility as happened on Bear Hill, where you had to rip up a whole bunch.
We ripped up the whole thing. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just kind of curious, Clea, are you still on track for looking for phase 2 acceptance this fall?
Yes, and Maple Hill.
Okay, Maple Hill I can understand. Looks like you got quite a bit of stuff to do on phase 2 of Brice Lemon.
We've been working up there pretty strong. The one thing I gotta get, is just putting that piece of drainage in those people's yard, but other than that, we're fitting all the last lots of houses on them and most of the sidewalks in. We've ordered the trees, ordered the bounds, we're gonna set them, and then we gotta just get an as-built. It's gonna be a little less complicated than phase 1.
Okay, just, again, caution, fall comes a lot quicker than you might think, and,
I know.
you know, we don't need, lots of last minute thing, and just a reminder, and I think, I'm not sure whether this has gone out to all builders or not, and I realize this kinda has to do with, these lots on Brintnal Drive. We are requiring bounds prior to building permits.
Bounds?
Yep.
Where?
All corners, the front corners, the frontage corners, I believe, we are requiring cement bounds, if I'm not mistaken, and all back corners are requiring 1-inch steel rod.
Okay. Okay, but we're just on Brintnal Drive. I don't remember that when we did the A&R.
We put that regulation in place
Yeah, a little while ago.
at least several months, if not half a year ago.
Okay. So, you want that done, what if you dig them up when you're digging? Isn't that something you do after?
I believe
It's in the bylaw how it was written.
yeah.
Yeah, I can send you the draft language for that, not the draft, the final language for that. The board made a change to its regulations, as Norman mentioned a couple of months ago, requiring the bounds.
I think it's contingent on building, is it a building permit or occupancy?
It was one of those two, the building or occupancy, later in the process.
I would imagine it was occupancy, but
I think it was occupancy because of
take a
the
look at it.
construction.
It could be.
Because we were looking at the final, we wanted to have it before they blessed it, but, yeah, Dave can send it to you.
Okay.
Like I say, just a friendly reminder.
Well,
Should we get that out to like Jimmy, Dave Lucier, Clee?
this is only on new stuff, right? The stuff that you're approving these days? Not on stuff that's already been approved, right?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, so like Brice and Lemon and Brintnal and Bear Hill too and all those are kind of exempt from that because they go by the old rules?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
But if you're willing to do it, we're okay with that too.
No. That's one of them I disagree with you guys on. I don't know that you don't have to be that's a lot of work, but
It's actually pretty good, Cliff.
Yeah, I knew you'd like it, Julian.
Alright.
Okay,
Deer Hill
you go through any of the rest of the, anything else on Brice Lemon that anybody interested in?
Other than, Norma was gonna ask, is it phase, the connection between phase,
4?
yeah. Any idea, Clea, when that's gonna take place?
We've cleared phase 4. I would say I'm probably gonna start that maybe not the winter, but in the spring of next year, probably. Because we're like I said, we're sold out on phase 3. We're just popping in cellar holes like crazy now.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else on Brice Lemon? Deer Hill 2, site inspection. I also took a quick run up to take a look at Deer Hill 2. It appears to me that they're still just moving dirt around. I didn't see if they were bringing in any gravel, for the road surface.
We're putting in the water and sewer and drain now, Norm.
Yeah, I noticed number 6, the drain from the house was into the roadway cut.
I know it's not our purview, Clea, but I saw the picture from Carl with the erosion barrier. Is that, you guys gonna fix that?
Oh, we already did.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah, we take care of stuff like that immediately.
All right,
Like
I
it's
just,
not
I saw the
exposed.
picture from Carl, I just was like gonna ask.
Yeah, it rained pretty hard that day before
Yeah,
that.
it rained pretty good today too, so it'll be mud tomorrow.
Lovely.
Oh, yeah?
So it's figured out. And I went in to check out something else. And I came back out and the truck was ahead of me. A mile ago, it hit a pond and the pad off the truck up there. So I had to stop the car. I went through the DPW and had them called. Still on the file.
Okay, anything else on Bear Hill?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So Brice Lemon, Bear Hill.
By the
Brintnal
way,
Estates?
now that we have a break, I mean, I appreciate, I couldn't make it to that meeting on Saturday. I appreciate everything you guys did there. That zoning bylaw got through and the roads got accepted, so thank you for your help on that.
Well, you sent the man with the clown suit to the party. Did George tell you what he showed up in?
Was it his golfing outfit or something?
No, he was in a red, white, and blue shorts with an American belt buckle, American flag belt buckle, and then a red, white, and blue shirt. It was pretty impressive.
It was.
Good for him. I like that.
Yeah, he was definitely there supporting the American traditions. And he said he's only billing you time and a half.
He already billed me. No, he didn't.
Alright.
Okay, number 9, Brintnal Estates. I don't think we have anything.
Nothing.
On Brintnal Estates.
We will be setting up that pre-construction. We hope to get started in around 3 weeks, so we'll be setting up that pre-construction meeting. I didn't forget what you guys said about that.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, is that it for me? You guys done with me?
That's it.
I think so.
All right, thank you again for everything.
All
See you
right.
later.
Yep.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Yep. Home occupation discussion.
Yes,
Oh,
where
man,
do I
Mark.
find it, file with a complaint?
Yeah, I read through this and I'm like, oh boy. How many violations do we have in Rutland?
Oh.
I can think of about 68.
Fill me in, is this somebody's asking us to verify something?
I'm not sure where this came from.
This came about from a discussion which I had with Norm a couple of weeks ago. Just a general discussion about a couple of ideas. None of these have come to fruition yet from the outside regarding home occupations. And whether or not, what the applicants could expect if they got to the board. So one of the items had to do with a business in town which has been successful. They started off as inside their house, making a coffee bean in their property. I won't identify them, I'll try to be as neutral as possible.
Understood.
So they've done quite well. They're starting to expand. They've outgrown the home itself. So the original enterprise was in the kitchen, basically. So now they want to expand. As we all know, there's limitation on the amount of commercially available space that would suit the particular use of this applicant, this entity. So they were exploring options of putting up a larger scale building for a more robust coffee roasting operation on land with nothing on it in a residential zone. They were plainly told that that was not allowed in the zoning district because that was just the primary use of the land. We've had some back and forth about whether or not a home occupation permit might be an avenue for these people to take. In that context, it would be another structure on their property. They would continue to reside in their property, build up the accessory structure and expand their operation. I do understand that they were looking for commercial property. I don't know where that thing stands, but that was the guidance we were thinking of providing to them. That was one instance. And then another instance had to do with a party looking at a Class 2 license for collectible cars where they would either act as a middle person by getting the car from someplace else in the country and being the middle person to buy and sell and selling it directly to the person around here. There may or may not be an instance where the vehicle is actually stored on the property in town. This entity has a house, they have garages, they are a classic car collector. They do work already for their own hobby, so the equipment is in the property should it be needed to fix the vehicles to get them into a sellable position. The discussion there was that the individual is growing the hobby. So the idea was not that it would ever be in a commercial area because that's just not the nature of it. So the question was whether or not that would be a home occupation that may pass muster and whether or not we should direct the applicant to take that path. So that was a general discussion. I mean, from one side of it, you know, if the board, I think, so we just wanted to have a discussion to see what the board's appetite is and how the board views home occupation, the bylaw, so we can advise the building commissioner. So when he comes up with these questions, he has a way to advise people, which is his responsibility.
How about the police?
Yeah.
All right.
How about the police? Why aren't the police out there taking care of people now that are exceeded the number of
Cars on the
employees and things like that?
I didn't bring this to talk about zoning enforcement. I brought this just to see if the board would like to have a discussion on
Yes.
how we should advise the building commissioner when things like this come his way, whether he should be giving people the pathway for home occupation, for things like that. That's my intent to bring this here. If you
Yeah,
want to open up to
that's fine to get them
enforcement.
going, but what the hell's the sense of it? What we have already, for Christ's sakes, in place is being violated, and it's not being taken care of.
Yeah, I brought this up
Okay.
And
when Addison was on the board. I'm sorry, Harold. Norm, because I know personally of like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 businesses that are in residential that now they could get, when I read this, and Dave, thanks, because I hadn't read this, where it says accessory dwelling that occupies more than 500 square feet. So that would take care of that building that they wanted to have on their property, as long as it didn't, you know, violate the other portions of major home occupancy. So that would be, I'm okay with what we've got here. I'd just like to see them actually being taken out.
could you, yeah. No, never mind, I'll ask you. I think that the major issue here, in my mind, and at the town meeting, there was a woman who spoke. She happens to live down the street from me, on putting in, I probably was the woman who wants to do coffee roasting. And I have trouble, and this goes to what Dick is saying, that we have also on Glenwood Road, a building that was permitted to be a garage and has been, and was built with that intent, because it's huge, to be part of a construction business. So, to me, it seems, and I think this is what Dick is speaking to, that there's a big in my mind, there was a controversy that this business exists across the street from me, and this person who is down on 48, they said 84, a few houses down, is doing it the right way and asking. So I think that's, and I'm not sure that you're aware of that. This has been my problem, and I've been vocal about it for years, because that's the building across the street from us is not the only one in probably a mile on Glenwood Road. There's probably, I think I counted them, and there's actually a new business on it, just a few houses down, and maybe this person really wants to have 20 trailers in their yard. Maybe they do a lot of camping, I don't know. But it seems like that's a little excessive for a residential area. So I mean, that's the problem that really needs to be addressed in the town. I realize that we can't all solve it, but.
So you're talking, if I understand this correctly, you're talking about possible zoning violations?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Commercial businesses in a residential zone that haven't been permitted in any way.
They've never been, not to my knowledge, I've never looked into them, but.
And I like what Marilyn said, maybe this is an opportunity to help people in town come and get major occupancy permits from the planning board.
Right.
I look at it as not to go out and stick it to them, but be able to have some semblance of, instead of the Wild West in Rutland, we actually know what's out there. And that's what I would prefer to do, instead of give it to them. Just, listen, I'm great, start a business, help out the American way, but let's do it per what Rutland's asked you to do. That's
How about if we do one more step? The town of Rutland owns 85 acres on 68, for crying out loud. It's zoned for light industrial or whatever, commercial. Why haven't we tried to address and set it up so, hey, listen, you've reached your capacity in this particular business here. If you would like, the town of Rutland has a piece of property, they'll sell it to you cheap or something like that. Here's an opportunity for you to move or whatever. Or you're gonna have to file a zoning change.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, in a perfect world, the home occupation is an incubator. Once they get to a certain size, then they want to go elsewhere and expand in a commercial zone, preferably. Yeah. But there's a limited commercial areas, so it's, but that's the ideal, the golden ideal, if you could have it, is that it's an incubator. Yeah. So in reality, we have these issues of a zoning issue, and we have an issue of land that's maybe being underutilized or not utilized at all.
And we all know, maybe 1 out of 10 businesses are successful over a 3-year period. So these incubators might not work, but the one that does should actually have a permit or a special, I think major home occupancy if it's a special permit from the planning board, so we can have a track of it. And that's all I'm looking to do, because again, I had, before you, I think Marilyn, you took Addison's place, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
We had this discussion when we were over in the old building, and it was just like, well, where do we start? I mean, there's so many out there. I mean, and you can't pick and choose, because then you're basically looking like you're going after an individual. And so that's why, when we never came up with a solution, what do we do?
And we did. I remember, Norm, who's the oil outfit down there at Long Pond, towards Long Pond? Mm-hmm. And there were a few others I think we also had filed.
Oh, yeah.
And but we never, no follow-up.
No.
And to me, that's the thing that needs to happen, is not only a follow-up, but maybe an expired time, a length of time. And hey, in so many years, you have to refile for home occupation, just to make sure everything is following.
We put conditions in all of those that we approved.
Yeah.
Do we get- Do we have a complete list? I know the town manager had been working on it, maybe you had been working on it, David, a little bit, a complete list of EIN numbers in the town. I mean, every business has
Kevin,
to
that's
have.
what I was thinking. The
Has
state's
to
got
have an
those.
EIN number, a list, Rutland, I mean, I have one, every business has to have a tax ID number.
And
If we can
Anita,
get that list, then we know every business in the town of Rutland.
Damn.
Anita should have that, I believe.
But that's.
It's not a bad thing, now we go around and say, well, you know, these are all these businesses, and I know exactly, and I never thought about this before today, you drive down Glenwood, there's a ton of
Well, it was on 6
family owned, awesome little,
Yeah.
they got business here, business there, business there, business, and we all know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they done
So-
properly?
I agree with you, but I think there's two issues here. One is the problem of existing home occupations or even businesses that don't even meet that criteria. So, and what we do about them, I'm not sure is our purview.
Well, that's part of the problem, because we don't have any enforcement.
I was gonna say, no, we have to go to the building inspector
That's
for
right.
enforcement. We don't have any of that authority.
Yeah.
Right.
But is that something that we could help him with by, to Kevin's point, we got the list, we've got a form letter, we've helped you do your job, so here, send these form letters out to these businesses, indicate to them that we have a home occupation, and we could even in the letter spell out, this is the definition, and if you have a larger business, here's the definition of the major home occupancy, and you'll need to come to the planning board for a special permit.
And you can just, in that letter, it could be maybe drafted, say, please, you know, please respond back to us with your, you know, your statement as to why you fit this criteria.
And if not, we're sending David to take care of you. I need to be clear at this point in time, this is a function of zoning enforcement resides with the building commissioner. My intent to bring this tonight, or to have a discussion with Norman, to agree to put this on the agenda, was by no means to wade into the zoning enforcement territory. This was brought solely as a way to utilize better some of the economic development tools that we have in the bylaw, which may be underutilized, and to respond to questions that we're getting more of for entities who are not finding a commercial location that's suitable, or want to explore this type of situation. That's my sole intent for bringing this, or asking for it to be put on. The zoning enforcement is not part of this. If the board would like to pursue that, I think that's gonna have to be taken up with the building commissioner.
Yeah.
I
Again,
apologize,
the
but I
question,
just
though,
need to.
Is he interested in doing something like that?
We do, ask him.
You know? Yeah.
Because,
we can.
I mean,
Well, I think, I mean, for me anyways, it's not a matter of hurting anybody's business or doing anything that could be, you know, but it's a matter of making sure that everything was done properly, or is it, or should it? Because as it grows, as Rutland grows, it's great that these people are calling Rutland home and they're making a name for themselves. They're growing and growing and growing, and it's all happening here in Rutland, but
But are they doing it in the
the right
proper
way. It sounds like the coffee
So-
people are, because they're asking the questions, how do we go about this? The people
so
that
my
have been
question is, the major home occupancy that I read on this weekend, I liked it. It's just, I like the fact that we had an accessory building in there, which could occupy more than 500 square feet. So we're not limiting them to a small area. We're giving them that, if they do have a building, to Maryland, to that thing that's more than 500 square feet, you really need to get a major home occupancy permit for that. So, unless the board has something to add, I thought this was good. It's just, and again, I'm treading over to the enforcement side. I don't think it's ever used. The only one in the 12 or 14 years I've been on the board was that masseuse and construction gentleman that lived next to Lenny on Main Street. That's the
Yeah.
only time I've ever seen anybody come in for one.
Well,
That was it.
Ledgers.
Yeah, that was the only
Yeah.
time
we
in
have,
my,
we have the oil company. I think we still have Fran Steiner.
do they have to renew, Norm, or is it just
No,
one time?
No,
Okay.
we put a review provision in
Oh, we
each
gotta
one.
review France, I'm telling you, I
Yeah.
don't trust that guy. Kid.
And then I believe the woodworking shop right down at Four Corners.
Correct.
That is also a major home occupation.
Okay.
And, you know, I guess the only thing is that I see that there's all kinds of pitfalls. And, you know, for example, and I'll use the two that Dave brought up. you know, the coffee roaster, and actually that, doesn't really maybe sound too bad. The auto body thing, I could see something like that just, you know, almost instantly turning into, oh, now we got an auto body shop in the middle of a residential area.
Yes.
So,
So,
you know, that could turn into a junkyard, for that matter.
No, I,
Richard,
So there's,
Okay.
you know, ooh,
right, but then I'm saying, I'm not sure that we have the right to say you can't do what you wanna do right now, because maybe you would do this later.
yeah, I know, and that's part of the problem.
Right,
Mhm.
But to talk to your point about what the board would actually be looking at, the board can put reasonable conditions on the special permit, including hours of operation, outdoor storage,
we got a lot of purview.
Lighting.
lighting.
Vehicles for sale in the front yard, and
Right,
little
the
things
number-
like that.
or that any
No
vehicle-
no X amount of vehicles can be visible from the
Or
road.
none can be
or-
visible from the road, and that
Right.
you're pretty much using the license as a way to be the broker. Nothing can be shown, then the board can go to
Right.
that limit and also put expiration dates on it where it needs to be renewed, not just reviewed, but renewed in a meaningful way. Such that when the renewal period comes up, then everybody does a site visit, and if something's not looking right, well, the board is in its right not to reissue the permit.
It would be
And
interesting to look up the ones that were issued.
Do these call,
I know we did put conditions on.
Where the
so
heck
we
would
did.
those be? Are there, did,
Sure, they're on file.
They're on file.
okay, so,
I haven't systematically looked at them, but we are getting, as the town is changing, we're getting more inquiries through the building office, which we need to do something with. It's not just people saying we wanna do it, it's people going through looking for a permit. Being told you can't have your permit because of this.
do we, Norm and Dave, do we wanna come up with, God, I hate saying this, but a template for an application for a major home occupancy, so if that question comes up and the building inspector comes to Dave, he's got something to hand him?
Well, it's a special permit application. Hopefully.
Yeah,
in
but that
time-
special permit application.
Well, we know, we hopefully understand the intent of reducing it.
Yes,
So that can
that's
become a
what
more
I was getting
manageable
at.
form.
In the fall, can I say that out louder?
have we talked to, I'm sure we haven't, because it just came up, but we should make sure we get the building inspector involved in this and see if he's,
Well, that's the important part.
right.
how far does
If
he wanna
we're
go
gonna-
with
if
it,
we're
and
gonna-
at
if we're gonna
what
go
point do you?
anywhere with-
We could get that EIN number, if we can even get this list and find out, we're like, oh, we didn't even realize how it's a good thing that all these businesses are in town, but
But do we have,
Open up
we
Pandora's
need-
box
We
and-
need the two lists, of what we have already for major home occupancy, and a list of who's out there in the town of Rutland.
Well, and then the question is, does this definition that we have now, is it good enough?
Well, until you start, going through some of this stuff.
I mean-
I've been leery of this thing for a long, long time.
About a decade.
Because there are certainly
About 20 years.
some of these that in the rural part of the town would fit fine and dandy, but just would not fit in the middle of a subdivision.
Correct.
You know, an open space subdivision, someone has a 15,000 square foot lot, yep, wanna open up a landscape business
right,
as a home occupation.
Oh, it's-
you barely fit in the garage or whatever, yeah.
But if you got 5 acres of land out on Glenwood Road or something like that,
Oh, and we all know who we're talking about, I mean, some of those facilities, I
know.
mean, these
Well, and that's what
great
Lemon
little
did.
home business, and I don't think one of my points to all this was, when you go through the major home occupation, there would be a public hearing.
yeah.
So the gentleman's looking to do
There'd be
the
a
car
public
thing, neighbors,
notification.
abutters, all that.
Yeah.
So in the grand scheme of things, have anybody had any complaints from abutting neighbors about any of these properties? Nobody's really complaining about it, nobody's really bringing it up, now we're just opening up a,
Yeah.
Well, an example is, when I read this over, it says, more than one commercial vehicle exceeding 10,000 pounds. Well, just a quick little search for me, and there isn't a what do you call it, a food truck that's under 10,000 pounds unless it's a trailer. So anybody that's got a food truck on their property in town is basically, should be taking out a major home occupancy permit, so.
and I think that could, I would say, they do not, it's a storage facility for them at that point. Are they working the truck out of their house?
I
So
know
would that-
one- I know
Now we're
one-
just splitting hairs
Yeah,
at this
I know,
point.
yeah.
No, I
mean,
actually know of one place in town that the food truck works out of the property, so selling bread or whatever else. So, and
right out of the house.
out of the
So
property.
that I would think would,
Yeah, now it goes other
maybe-
places too, don't get me wrong, but,
but
you
the
know, it's,
majority of a food truck is probably not down
Yeah.
in the driveway of the house.
yeah, no, I agree. It's just things like that, it's where do we, and it's not, we're not the enforcement, but
Right.
it's the question of, does this home occupancy definition cover everything?
So how do you start? Do we start refining this, or do we find out first how to enforce something, get somebody in here and have some background on that, and then work it together, or
That's what I like Norm's
do we,
idea.
do we need to have a joint communication with the town of Rutland Select Board for crying out loud on their property? Do you want to start opening it up and try to, because it's constantly in the back of my mind, there's one individual, he has more than one vehicle, he has a ton of vehicles, and it didn't start out that way, but he's worked up that way. Now, does he rezone for business, or
Well-
does he move?
I just wanna say, as a person who started this the discussion, that I feel better now. But I think that, this is an extremely complicated issue. It's
Mhm.
probably more than what we can handle here in this meeting tonight. So the issue that's on the table is, you said there were two firms, the car guy and the coffee roaster. So my suggestion is that we keep thinking about this and go ahead and talk about these two things, talk about the ones on the table. And in my mind, I'm seeing that there are times and laws change, and what you do is, things that are existing are grandfathered in, and that's probably the point we're in.
So there's some things, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The point where
It's not gonna be fair to go to somebody that's been doing it for 20 years and say, hey, now you have to change, it's our bad, we didn't catch it, or.
I need to pay for Tamika, I want my $200, $500. Dave,
So is it possible, like to what Marilyn said, we've got the two people now, we talked with them,
And that'll get us started.
get us
into
started
this.
on what some conditions might be,
Yeah.
what this, what that is.
Right.
and-
It's a good beginning to get back into it again,
When you
and for
mean
me
talk-
personally.
When you mean talk to them, you mean advise them that a legitimate path to approach is to
Yes.
apply for a special permit for
Correct.
home occupation.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Dave, let me ask you a question. In your, did Lexington or anything have that? Like, I guess I'm looking for, we can't be the only one in the Commonwealth that has this issue.
Well, that was my question, among other things. Are you aware of any number of other towns that have a major home occupation bylaw?
Yes, it's quite common, actually. It's common. You'll probably see it more in it, well, it's quite common. What's gonna vary are the allowable uses and the criteria. But I'm familiar with several of these, actually.
So we can have access to
That's what I was getting at.
a variety of them and maybe take a look and see,
That's what I want,
you know,
yeah.
hey, what's good for us, what isn't good for us.
Yeah, I mean, there might be something, say, in, I don't know, Hardwick, that doesn't really fit Rutland, but it has, I know, I was gonna get him wound up. But there could be pieces of it that we could use,
When
so,
you say use, for what purpose?
Sounds
to refine this major
Did you read that?
home
I gotta kick
occupancy
it in here.
Well, I'm not-
definition that we
Gary
have.
Gazette.
You mean for possible zoning change?
Gilbertville, which
Yes.
is Hardwick.
But in the meanwhile, we're gonna
The
advise
people
these people to
will
apply
know.
for a special permit.
Right
Oh, yeah,
here,
yeah,
Gilbertville.
yeah,
Of course, you just need to
Yeah.
Gonna
understand what we're
be
doing here. 'cause
growing
it's-
marijuana,
There's now three
distributing
things.
marijuana research, and other businesses, restaurants and everything else, they're gonna redo that doggone mill.
That mill is beautiful.
It is
It is.
beautiful, I am so happy to see that, and that falls right into this.
No, it's gonna be a
Oh,
tough
yeah.
one though, because that's I mean, people say Rutland's in the middle of nowhere.
Mm.
Gilbertville, is a haul.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing around there. Even to get to exit 8 in Palmer is a 30-minute
But if
poke.
you're-
never
If you're
mind.
going down there to get your stolen Apple Watch that the bastards tried stealing your identity for, that's a hike, but I went and got it.
There you go. That's a haul.
There's a Walgreens
That's
right up
awesome.
there.
That's great news, but.
The things that are happening, and to me, for crying out loud, Amazon's going into Sturbridge,
Yes.
Charlton, down.
Charlton, Sturbridge area. I've been pushing for 49 for I don't know how many years now. I've gotta push it even harder. I've gotta get it out there even more, for crying out loud, because we need 49 in here to bring the trailer trucks up through.
And it took Chicago 35 years to get 55 to come down to I-90 from up on 80. If you can do it inside of there, you'll impress the hell out of me. So I sold my house 2 years after, or 2 years before it dropped in.
So
But
we got a little direction on this?
I think we do.
I think we should, A, advise the two applicants to move forward with what we have.
Yeah.
And then B, if Dave's got any existing ones, we should take a look at them and see how we could refine our zoning bylaw for
I
future.
would love to pull them out and find out who's still working and who's not. Are they still functioning out of the same place? I'm thinking of, I can't remember the name of the oil company now.
Oh, yeah.
Parker Oil.
New Central Mass Oil.
Central Mass Oil. Yeah.
Then we should tell the building inspector to hire 2 juniors and go out there and bust them
Well.
all. Kidding.
No, yeah, you got, I mean, there's a bunch of oil companies, right? Central Mass,
Yeah.
TNT, did he shut down?
They used to store it at Greenstone.
Greenstone, right, so TNT sold out to Greenstone, but it's still the same location,
Yes.
across from, you know what I mean, so
You
yeah.
got Old Man Oil down here.
Old Man,
But he's got, isn't that a zone business area down there?
right on Palmagussit, isn't he on?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's a little, what do we call that, spot zoning at one time?
Where?
He's got the little garage, right up the,
Palmagussit, right,
Who
across
who are you
from,
talking
Old Man Oil.
Old Man Oil.
Old Man Oil.
Yeah.
Is that
Just
business?
Is-
No, that's
no,
residential.
That's residential.
Okay.
you know, I mean, so,
I don't
So
want
that
to.
he's got the nice garage, I mean, it looks cool, you know, it's not like it's a beautiful little place, he built that garage, what, 5-10 years ago?
Yeah,
When-
but
When he
it's
built it, it would be good to know, if you can look back at that building permit, is there something on that building permit for that garage to say, what's it gonna be used for?
Wasn't that a living
Yeah.
quarters above it?
That's exactly what it was built for, a garage with an accessory.
You remember?
Oh, I remember.
It was not that long ago, it was
I
only
was-
8-9 years ago.
I
they built
disagree
it.
with it, because I knew exactly what it was gonna be used for, but it was just, if I remember right, it was an in-law apartment with a garage underneath it.
So is that in-law apartment now an apartment, or is it an office?
I don't know, never been in it.
Is he even storing his oil trucks there? No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
As a matter of
I
fact,
don't know.
where did I see his? Whose oil truck
I
is
can't say that I
just
have.
over the Rutland Holden line?
Al's.
Al's
Al's
oil,
oil.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, that's a good question, I can't say that I see oil trucks in his driveway regularly.
No, no,
Just the big sign out front.
that's right.
I don't know.
And you remember that food truck down in the four corners of, Crossway, four
Correct,
corners? Yeah, it was an oil truck packed down there for advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Al's Oil, it's the same deal, because they're out of Worcester.
Well, yes.
Is that enough direction, Dave?
Yes, that's great, thank you.
Thanks for bringing it up, no, it's a really good
The,
point of information.
the non-existing business across from us is, it's actually on an angle if anybody wants to look at it. But, they have, it's actually more of a warehouse, and the other day, before all this stuff happened with the schools, they were delivering windows with one of those. It was a great big, 18-wheeler truck, and they had one of those little, what do you call them?
Forklift muffin things.
Oh, like Home Depot has on the back of their
Oh,
truck,
yeah,
to take
yeah.
everything
Yeah.
off?
But the thing was that at like 10 minutes of 9 in the morning, there's 9,000 cars at least that go, take their kids
Mhm.
down there to Glenwood Road, and they all had to back up.
'Cause the
with a
truck was
lineup,
there.
because only one could go by at a time.
Oh,
So what you're saying is that gentleman needs to put in a, road into the place capable of turning a trailer truck around behind it.
Yeah, that's not good.
All right, I will tell him tomorrow.
Okay.
No, I'm honest. I gotta take a bill up to him, he owes me money, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I will.
Well, is that something that's in those bylaws that, yeah, I mean, 18-wheel tractor trailer trucks unloaded on the streets with traffic jam? It
Yeah,
happens once a month, yeah, but then when people start complaining about it,
Yeah.
you have to address it.
I don't know if they're every day, but.
and he owns all the property, it's the all-family property right behind it, and all the way down almost to Main Street. So,
Tell me when we get to the can't anticipate within 48 hours section.
I think we're there.
Actually, would you like to take a look at this decision?
Yeah, there's one more to go.
Regarding Baxter Road, that was a self-storage modification, minor modification.
Yep.
All I'm seeing here is.
You don't have, you only have an electronic copy of it.
Oh,
It's in the
okay.
I assume that
email.
Okay, that's right.
that's the
I remember
paper
reading.
version.
Oh, Dave, I think this goes in your packet. This was the telegram
Legal
portion.
after that, yeah.
Yep, you need that.
Has everybody read it?
Yes,
I did read it.
I read the electronic portion.
You sent it out by email.
well, I probably printed it, but never threw it in my folder.
Can I see that for a second now?
Yep. I had no problem with that.
Nope.
Oh, my God.
More than complete.
Yes.
Oh, right here, yeah. Minor modifications. Yeah, this is it. No, I read it. I had no problem with it.
It's a pretty flat spot out there, isn't it?
Fairly, yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is one of the things that I always go to is, the change. What happens after the fact? That's what these people brought up, and, 5 years down the road and all these things happen.
I do have to say, I went by there actually today. It's kinda ugly. It really is.
Well, it's far enough off so that
It's not very far off.
Well,
Maybe it's not.
I'm
not, no.
Have you
no,
seen
no.
68?
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, the 68 one.
Yeah,
That is kinda ugly.
yeah.
You go by and it just sticks right out at you, cause it's, I don't know, 250 feet of just wall.
Yeah. They're putting up the steel wall right now for the storage.
Can't been any uglier than that white fence.
That was
They
a
put
good-
up bushes, are they gonna put up bushes?
Well,
there's definitely some stuff in there.
There's some stuff that's grown up,
Yeah.
because this is like about 3 or 4 years old now.
But I think there was something on the plan.
Yeah.
At least around the sign there is. I
Yeah,
know.
there's some minor landscaping.
Yeah.
Do we need
Or
to,
maybe down the road,
Dave,
you add a
vote on
little
that,
bit
or
more.
just,
You know what I mean?
do we just need to?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any trouble, Lucius thing is, that's far enough back, that's another
Should
thing.
you
Yeah.
guys vote to sign it?
I was just gonna,
We'll get it signed.
thank you for weighing in on that. Yes, a vote would be good for that, and then
Yeah.
signing it.
Do I have a motion to sign the decision on the minor modification to special permit on 232 Barry Paxton Road?
So moved.
So second, so seconded.
Okay. Is there any discussion? In favor, roll call, Kevin,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Dick,
Aye.
Norm, aye. So we don't need a special permit for this one.
Is a condition ever put in for the future? Meaning, say you have a solar field that goes up and the condition at the beginning is to put in, an evergreen bush every 6 feet, blah, 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 blah. And then 5 years down the road, all those bushes are dead. Or they never grew.
Yeah, that's
Is
what's
there anything
happening.
to go back and say, hey, this 5 years later, we weren't supposed to see anything, we're still seeing it 5 years later.
Yes.
Can you now go, or even the storage facility, say it's because it's a brand new business, return on investment isn't there, maybe you go and you say, hey, look, 5 years down the road after, or 3 years down the road, after you've rented them all, and after can you make sure that this is put into
You
it?
can require
Treasure Valley.
a reasonable.
It's horrible.
You know what happened? They sold it. As soon as they got done building it, they turned
Of course
around and
they
sold
are.
it, and the new owners, no, that's not, it wasn't an
It
our.
wasn't part of our conditions. I
That's
don't have to
right.
do anything.
You can put reasonable warranties on that kind of thing. You
So I
know,
think it's-
if within 2 years any bushes died, they'll replace them.
Okay,
That's-
so I think that's something that comes up, and I understand what these people are talking about with road, you're cutting in here, you remove a tree, that's gonna change
Yeah.
the water underneath it, no matter what. It's 1 tree, 5 trees, 10 trees.
Brintnal Drive is getting to the point where it could almost just as well be taken off the scenic road list.
Correct.
Honestly.
I was over that today.
Well, and I didn't wanna bring up in the hearing, but y'all have no idea how much traffic you're gonna get when Brintnal Estates goes in, do you?
Oh,
That's gonna be crazy.
Brintnal Drive is one of the more heavily traveled roads.
Yep.
It is. It really is.
And then secondly, what happens when for the year and a half Palmagus's getting worked on by the state?
They'll all be on.
I definitely, I look both ways before I look at the paper in the morning.
I believe it. And right now, you're probably better off being a dirt road, because you look at a lot of the side streets in Rutland right now,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so many potholes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable,
Yeah.
the
It
conditions
does,
of
it
the
does
roads.
slow people down, and
Yeah,
that's what
the
some people
conditions of
do.
the roads in
They want a
Rutland are
nice,
terrible.
smooth
It
road, but
slows some of them down.
some down.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, this
Well, there's some
Right.
Midas shock sort of company is probably very grateful for how some of these people travel Brintnal Drive. They're pulling the cars right to pieces. Okay.
All right, just because there's a young lady behind us getting itchy to go home, I think I make a motion to adjourn.
Nope, I got one thing.
Oh,
Let me just
Too bad.
throw
Second.
this out there.
okay.
30 seconds.
All right, I talked about the rescissions of the subdivisions. We can do it. If there was one mortgage holder on that property, and it's only the owner, law says we can do it. If the law, and again, this is KP can tell me if I'm wrong, but under 81P, if the individual lots were sold to individuals, you'd have to get everybody's permission. But one owner on the lot, like George says, his State Clee took a mortgage out on it, you can rescind that subdivision. Now, you have to, to Dave's point, you have to have good reason, but you can rescind it. So,
What would be the good reason?
We've changed some of the
They've
bylaws.
been-
And I heard a little bit, so just
yeah,
kind
it's
of fill me
13
in.
years since
Right.
it was approved.
Yeah.
The subdivision bylaws have changed. Whether that's a good one, again, that's KP law.
They approved and then renewed every 2 years
Yeah,
from that
As
time.
they were.
Yep.
Well,
As they were.
And now part of them, there was a
the
5-year holding
subdivision-
period.
Hold it. Subdivision plans do not get renewed.
Correct.
They are forever.
Special
permits, yes.
But the subdivision,
Subdivision plan itself, no.
And that's been approved.
Yeah.
But then he would have to come back to get special permits, because
No,
I'm
the
assuming there's,
subdivision can be, the rescinded, special permit can be, you can rescind a subdivision by 81P.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of. Second thing I found under 81W, and I think that's right, or amendments, approval of the subdivision conditions. We can put on a subdivision that if the infrastructure, being the road's not completed in 2 years, it's an automatic rescission. And it's held up by case law. So I just want to put that out to the board. I found that. And the third and final thing in my 30 seconds, there's a 235, like the A&R book that we didn't know about. The state has a 235-page subdivision regulation book that can be for planning boards.
Oh.
I haven't figured out how I get it yet. I think it was like $15 a copy. And
I was gonna
lost
say,
that
didn't we
page.
just get some money the other night?
That was for his pay.
Oh, no, I thought we got a little extra money for, wasn't there something in there?
No, that was the library, got their $20,000.
No, I thought, oh.
No, the planning board. No, in fact, you lost money if the override doesn't get approved.
Right. I thought there was something in there for.
So
like a
that
slush
I just
fund.
wanted to bring those up. I
I-
can find them. I liked what I saw with the conditions that we can put on subdivisions that I didn't know about.
And
But
now,
there-
I'd like to see McAllister withdrawn,
The three that I had was Noble Hill, McAllister, and Milliken.
Yeah.
All need to be rescinded.
because Milliken, we never got the,
Yeah, Milligan, there is no subdivision.
Is there a
no-
special permit?
I believe we have kept the special permit alive,
I don't know.
Okay,
but there is no subdivision plan, because he never
Yeah,
filed a definitive.
never filed it.
okay. Okay, it only was a preliminary, definitive never got filed, if I remember right. Okay. And then the second and last thing is, we waited too long. May 31st was our last opportunity to get the young lad a laptop with the COVID money. So I'd ask some questions about what's a laptop cost? And I've heard the number of $900, not $2,000. Is that something in our purview that we want to think about and use to get Dave a laptop?
I mean, we have a solution here, I'm able to.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
All right.
Peter can get me set up, I have, my email's going here, which you can't see, and then this is the screen that we're sharing.
Okay,
So
I just,
we were able to solve.
as
the
long
problem
as you're
with
fine,
that.
I found a solution when I found out the price went from $2,000 to $900.
No, that's fine, I push comes to shove, Tamika has a computer issue to her on behalf of the town for town duties, including planning board, so I could use that if I needed to for a portion.
Okay,
of
good
this
enough.
month.
I'll let item two.
I don't think it's a wise expenditure of funds, if there's another solution that already exists.
Okay, good enough.
Okay,
I do appreciate the offer and what I
I went and checked prices and I thought, well,
And your chair's comfortable enough?
It's a chair.
yeah. Yeah.
We want to keep you happy, that's all.
You're leaning on a nice one.
There you go.
Yeah, well, we had a bunch of nice ones over there that I brought from Riley, but I think they've been borrowed and returned and taken and all that good stuff, destroyed.
Ready?
Okay, that's it.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
any discussion? Roll call, Kevin?
Aye.
Marilyn?
Aye.
Jim?
All right.
Jim?
Aye.
Norm?